Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Heroes CCL presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Jesting, and we had a nice little break off for the U.S. holiday for Memorial Day weekend, and so we had some great time to relax, play some games, get our Storm League rank up, and of course, let these players prep for the upcoming week in Heroes CCL. Of course, since we had a little bit of time off, Grubby, let's start with you. What have you been up to? I know you ate a seafood pizza before stream today?
Yeah, as opposed to a seafood pizza without fish, like
yes.
seaweed and bedrocks.
Hey, you never know.
Urchins
those bedrocks and urchins, they're delicious, spiky and great for the teeth. But I mean, what have you been up to? How have you been? And also, how was that pizza?
Yeah, it was good. It was actually pizza leftovers, and I used this trick that I saw on the internet where you take the pizza and you put it in a skillet.
Yeah.
You add a little bit of water, you cover it, and then you reheat it. And it's supposed to be just like the first time, crispy and whatnot. Which doesn't make sense because you add water, you would think it's soggy. But I saw the tip on the internet and I tried it out and it doesn't work. So that's great.
It is. So what you're supposed to do? You get a hot pan. You put the pizza on one side. You put like 2 droplets of water. Like
2 droplets.
Like it's like very little.
I did 1 cup of water.
Oh my god, no! You need
actual
like
cup?
It's like you put like a little bit of water, and it's just then you put a pan lid over it, and you keep the water away from the pizza, and the steam kind of gives it that like pizzeria feel to it. So there you go. That's not a cup of water. Definitely not a cup of water. Yeah, I learned actually that from Jules. I learned that from Jules actually. But Justin, how have you been? What have you been up to in the week or two that we've been off?
Yeah, it's been good. I've just been being a super gamer, just playing lots of video games. So it's been nice, fun, relaxing. Playing some HoTS, of course. Playing some other games. Been a good time.
Yeah, it has been a good time, nice and relaxing. All of us kind of got to stretch our legs a little bit. These players got to stretch their fingers in the sense of also kind of prepping and playing more. And we'll get into all of that. We also did have some roster changes to discuss as well for later on today. But of course, let's start talking about prize pool. Let's start talking about where we sit with said prize pool because of your generous donations to HeroesCCL. We have hit $17,645.69 nice cents. And Grubby, it's always really, really nice just to see the support coming out from the community who can use exclamation point prize pool to get over to the Matcherito.
Yeah, the community support is such a motivation boost to all of us here at Wisdom and at CCL, and also for the players, of course, because they're trying to put their best damn performance down every weekend. And bigger prize pools means greater potential payoff. They want to get the best possible part of it. We pay everyone at least something. You can see all 8 teams are getting something. So a lot of your contributions are going towards the teams and will be leading to better games. First place team, of course, going to be taking everything. This prize pool is also, of course, going to be relevant to make the LAN even more spectacular because we have a LAN finals for the entire season on August 5th to 7th at the Mall of America in Minnesota.
The Wisdom Gaming Studios. I'm so excited about it, Grubby, as we're nearing that $8,000 mark, and I know we can hit that today because of your support. I know we can push to that point. Thank you all, everyone at home, for always pushing us further and further in the prize pool. But of course, Justin, it's been a little bit of time. Let's catch everyone up at home as to where the standings sit for HeroesCCL as we're entering into week number 4.
We've got a bit of separation happening here. We've got 30K and Diamond Hands in the first 2 positions with both 3 and O's. We've got Wildheart, Oxygen, and Chili Mountain kind of in the center of the pack right now. And as the tail to the league right now, we've got Storm, Granite, and Simplicity. So quite a bit of division here starting to occur in the standings. 30K, Diamond Hands, Wildheart, Oxygen, and Chili Mountain kind of sitting at the top, all still fighting for that top 3, especially 30K and Diamond Hands. And Storm, Granite, and Simplicity are really going to make some changes and pick things up as the season progresses if they want to make it into the top 4 or top 3 by the end of the season.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss, and we are in kind of the second half of the group play, if you will. I know it's 7 weeks, and there's no real half per se, but after that little break we had, we've got week 4, 5, 6, and 7 back to back to back to back with no breaks. So this is going to be the most critical time for these teams, and this is when we should see the most exponential rise, gain, and play from all these teams. But of course, Grubby, let's take a look and see what we're going to be having for our best of 5s today, because the big storyline for me here is our first matchup of the day, because both of these teams sit 0-3 in record. They Granite Gaming with a 2-9 map score, and the members of Storm Esports with a 4-9 map score. One of these two teams, Grubby, will find their first victory in week 4.
Yeah, and Granit Gaming won one map in every series they played. They did have one unfortunate scheduling issue where they couldn't play, and they got a 0-3 default loss against them. But in the other two series, they won one map in both. Storm Esports won 2-1-1 maps respectively in their 3 series that they lost. So it's fair to say that actually, despite the 2 map difference in terms of map wins, the 2 teams are fairly evenly matched. Granit Gaming has played both with SMX and with Quacknix. We'll have to see and wait who turns up for them today. But this should be actually a closer match than would be expected based on their map score thus far.
I would agree with you. I think week number 3 was the best showing we'd seen of Granit Gaming, with Quacknix being pulled in to play and Smexy put on the bench, and we'll have to see what Storm Esports does. But of course, later today, Diamond Hands versus Wildheart Esports. And now that you're caught up on the schedule, now that you're caught up on the league standings as well as our prize pool, let's catch you up on our amazing sponsor, Next Level Gaming. What is Next Level Gaming? They're a Miami-based esports center where you can play Heroes the Storm among 400 other pre-installed games that are updated daily. Next Level Gaming is also a Blizzard Cafe, which means you get some extra benefits on your account when you play over at the Esports Center, like extra experience as well as all heroes being unlocked. They've got a monster of a computer over at the Esports Center. It is an HP Omen with Intel i7 processors and RTX 3090 graphics cards. There's also 2 monitor options to choose from, a 24-inch monitor at 240Hz and a 32-inch monitor at 144Hz. Be sure to use !NXT in chat to find out all you can about the amazing sponsor that is Next Level Gaming. And of course, thank you Next Level Gaming for joining us for HeroesCCL Season 4. But of course, we got to talk about everyone's favorite thing, Gambas. HeroesCCL Fantasy is back. We've partnered with Ball Street to bring you CCLmarkets.com. It's a free pick'em game that lets you choose HeroesCCL winners in real time as you watch the action. Simply buy shares of the team you think is going to win the matchup and sell shares of the team that you think is going to lose. The best part? You can change your mind at any time because the market is always open. Buy and sell all match long to get a better score. Every night, the top traders on CCL Markets will win prizes that you can compete for all season long. Join cclmarkets.com and win prizes as you watch today's broadcast. And of course, just like Next Level Gaming, thank you Ball Street for joining us for HeroesCCL Season 4. But of course, Grubby, Justin, we have talked about a lot of things, and I think the one thing people want to start talking about are these rosters. And I want to take a look over at Granit Gaming. Can you break this down for us, Grubby?
Granit Gaming, they're going to be bringing Azerite, Breeze, Hoik, Quacknix, Wubby, and SMX. One of those is going to be the substitute, probably either Quacknix or SMX. Azerite was actually moved to healer position for a bit last weekend. Well, 2 weekends ago when they were playing, as SMX was not available and Quacknix played instead. Will we see SMX back on support, which would mean that Azerite will be playing as a damage dealer, or will Quacknix come in again with some of his legendary historical foul stat plays?
And that is a strong roster. I am actually really interested because I think the Quacknix change last weekend or 2 weekends ago was such a benefit to the side of Granit Gaming. But of course, we'll see all that in a little bit when we get into the draft because of course, Justin, on the opposing side of the battleground, we got Storm Esports.
We sure do. We've got CPX playing the ranged, June the support for the team, Lauber the tank, Maka, the ranged flex, Swamp Garada, the offlane, and Nazmaz is the 6th member for the roster. This is a lot more of a developmental roster, I'd say, with a lot of players that we've seen for a long time, like Lauber and CPX and Swamp Grata, and some new players that we haven't seen too much of in Maka and June, which we all know of, but he hasn't been super active in the CCL up until now. So this is kind of a team that's built around CPX, it seems. CPX is playing a lot of interesting picks, being able to threaten on things like Medivh, being able to make things like Maiev look good, one of the only ones to do that. This is a team that has not picked up any wins, but they've looked really good in all their losses. So that's not exactly the consolation prize you want, but they have a lot of potential for sure.
But I think you make a very, very important point with that, and it's not like they've been 3-0'd, they've been stomped, they've just been run through the mill, and you know they're just kind of a carcass on the side of the road. Like Storm Esports, they have vied and they have really, really fought through a lot of these games. I'm excited to see this matchup, and as I said, the big storyline here, Grubby, for me is which of these teams will pick up their first victory, and how will that victory go? Will it be a clean 3-0? Will it be a 3-1? Will we go to a Game 5? Is there that potential reverse sweep? Because Storm was kind of trying for it a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, and it's actually such an important match, do you know that? Because in this league system, it's round robin, and every single team has a chance to make it to the LAN playoffs and to get the victory. Even if you were to go 0-7, losing against literally every other team, there's still the playoffs, the ladder bracket, which we sometimes call the gauntlet, and all you would have to do is win like 4 or 5 matches in a row in order to qualify for LAN. The lower you are, the more rungs on the ladder. So for Storm and Granite right now, they're positioned in rank 6 and 7. If whoever wins this match between them right now is likely to guarantee top 6 at least, and that saves you 1 or 2 matches from the bottom of the ladder. So this match, very important.
I agree, absolutely. And for anyone wondering, that gauntlet will be happening on July 9th and 10th after the holiday break that is for the U.S. 4th of July. But of course, let's in the future, let's look to the present right now because we know where we're going to for map number 1, and I can break this down for all of you at home because a little interesting tidbit. It's actually going to be Storm Esports winning the coin flip, opting for map pick priority. They will ban out Battlefield of Eternity, which stats-wise, we have not seen them at all this season on Battlefield of Eternity. Neither have we seen Granite Gaming, and Granite will be banning out Dragonshire, which, funny enough, we haven't even seen Storm on either, but we are going to be seeing Storm Esports choose to take us to Cursed Hollow for map number 1, giving first pick priority over to the side of Granite Gaming. And now, Justin, heading to Cursed Hollow, we could talk a lot about like the mechanics and stuff. We've been talking about that from week to week. One of the questions that actually popped up on my stream when we were on the break was, why are we seeing so much Lucio ban? Is he really that good? Because I think a lot of us, we look at, it's like, oh, let's just grab a Stukov, and just win the game, or Anduin. Like, why is there so much ban onto Lucio? And Grubby, please, if you also have some ideas on this as well. But Justin, I'll start with you.
So he's super strong for a multitude of reasons. One main one being the high five is such a easy tool to be able to kind of prevent one-shots on your front line. The meta right now revolves a lot around just blowing up the enemy front line, just one-shotting their tank in a single CC combo, and being able to always have that cleanse available for any member who gets caught is super strong. And also he just has a bunch of kind of unique properties to him that other sports don't have, where he's kind of in the category that I label as like mosquitoes, like Tracer, where they just interrupt your rotation permanently. And if you're something like a Muradin or an ETC trying to rotate around the map, you just have a Lucio in your face the entire time. Genji does this as well. It's just a really annoying thing to deal with as the tank. You're constantly being tracked and just bullied by the support, which no other sport does that. And so those are some of the reasons why we see him so prioritized.
Did you have any thoughts as well, Grubby? I know that was a lot from, I think Justin might have surmised it very well, but if you have anything as well as you wanted to throw in there.
Well, I'll hit you with a metaphor. It's like playing one of those Pokemon games, Sword and Shield, whatever, and you're just walking around admiring nature and you want to go somewhere and you're constantly getting stopped by Pokemon encounters. That's Lucio.
Lucio is the random encounter, okay. Just constant random encounters.
They're not like good ones, it's just Pidgeys. Low-level Pidgeys.
It's all Pidgeys.
It's like, I don't want this. It's like, come on, give me a Zubat or something, anything else. But absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for breaking that down. And I do have a question a little bit later on about some of the main tanking play styles as well, because I was talking to Kyle Ferguson yesterday about it on Into the Nexus. But let's start breaking down our draft, because we're already seeing high priorities onto Hogger. That is the 6th ban on Hogger from Granite Gaming. That is the 13th ban onto Junkrat from the side of Storm Esports here, Grubby.
Yep, and Lucio, basically Lucio Junkrat.
Yep.
They're both super debilitating to the opponent. Junkrat makes the tank not able to play. Lucio makes him not able to rotate with any kind of reasonable speed, and he can interrupt many abilities. Those 3 bans are super solid. I'm wondering if we're going to see like a Sylvanas ban here, or maybe Dahaka, or Blaze. Okay. I think those 3, Sylvanas, Dahaka, Blaze, are really solid candidates for a 4th ban there, but they're going to go ahead and remove the Blaze here. I think it's a wise choice.
Well, and I think Grubby was also on a really good point, Justin, with the Sylvanas talk, because Granite Gaming did look their best with the Sylvanas. It was Quacknix's Sylvanas, but still, it was a really strong tool for their team. But Granite will start with a Dahaka, a strong solo laner global for Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, you see Dahaka picked up right away, and having the Blaze and the Hogger banned out makes a lot of sense. This is kind of, those 3 I would say are sort of in a tier of their own within the tier of the best offlaners right now. And something I want to point out is between the Hogger, the Lucio, and the Junkrat, one thing they all have in common is they all have displacement in their base kits, which not many heroes do, and displacement is easily one of the strongest. Just I don't know what you'd even consider like a category of ability in Heroes of the Storm.
A form of
Things
CC,
like Gust, that is sort of the last real one, because it's better than a normal CC ability where you just stun someone in place. You get to physically move their character, which kind of creates like a fourth dimension of playstyle for you, where it's something that you have to account for, that you can't really predict it because you can be pushed sort of anywhere. It's something that Alarak is really good for if he sees any buffs in the future, because the pull is so strong, being able to just put someone anywhere you want. That's part of the reason why we see them banned out. And then the Falstad being picked up, getting a bit of a monopoly on displacement. That also is really good into things like the Medivh that Storm was known to at least threaten to play.
We'll just create a new category called Super CC, where it's not, you know, it's like it's this new form, it's this new era. But of course, Grubby, there's a couple cool things happening here. We got that Tyrael Falstad. Any other thoughts of what's been banned or evolved in the draft?
Yeah, Storm was able to delay their solo lane pick because those top 3 were already taken up, so they went with their favorite DPS and heal. June seems to really favor Rhaegar.
Yeah.
We have mostly... Oh, okay. Yeah, we've mostly been seeing less winning teams favor Rhaegar a lot, but he's still one of the highest win rates in Storm League at least, and he's still valuable in pro play as well, for sure. Does good camps and whatnot. Now we see that Mosquito coming in, Genji, CPX on Genji, and Labro Muradin. We love Labro Muradin. He's very effective with this hero. We have one more... Wait, what is that final pick? What's Naz? Who's Naz on Storm? Oh, I guess he renamed or something.
It might be character length or something like that, where they
okay.
they couldn't fit the whole thing. But Andu and Cassie, I really like the Granit Gaming draft here. Justing, it's got a lot of the tools that this is a very winning draft, and it's great CC, good damage, good burst ability, good control. Ooh. Oh, but that's spicy. Justing, thoughts, breakdown.
That's a good draft.
Yeah, I'd like both of these drafts, but I'm a Storm Esports boy.
Very different playstyles. Storm Esports kind of all-inning on their already all-in composition. We sort of have a sustained composition from Granite, where you have better sustain overall. You have Falstad, Cassia, just a lot of sustain damage. And when we saw Breeze play Tyrael previously, it was the damage build for Tyrael. So again, that's kind of playing into that sustain. They also have Dahaka, which is a self-sustaining offlaner. So they're kind of playing to have these slow, delayed, long fights. They have tools like Gust to ensure that. They have the pull from Anduin. They have Tyrael with Sanctification. So they're playing for a lot of counter engage. Whereas Storm Esports has to play super aggressive and play for one-shots because they'd lack that sustain damage. Genji's sustain damage is not close to what Falstad or Cassia can bring. So they're looking to just one-shot targets off of a Stormbolt from Lauber, a hat from an Abathur on top of a Genji with CPX blinking in. So it's going to be and now with the clone, they can only really fight when they have clone available. So very much a sustained defensive counter-engage composition from Granite, and an all-in from Storm. So Granite needs to survive, and if they survive the one-shot, they should win the prolonged fight.
Well, thank you, Justing, as always. As we are loaded on in. We got Granite Gaming in the blue, Poik on the Falstad, SMX on the Anduin. Azerite on the Cassia will be on the Dahaka and Breeze to play the Tyrael. Over on the side of Storm Esports, we're looking at CPX on the Genji, June on the Rhaegar, Maka on the Sylvanas, Nasmus on the Abathur, and Lauber to be playing the Muradin. I also got to point out, I mean, Maka on Sylvanas, Grubby, that's a hard thing for me to vote against, and I love an Abathur, so I'm a Storm Esports boy for this matchup. But any thoughts on just the draft or any predictions? Whatever you want to talk about, Grubby. What else was on your pizza? Maybe we can talk about that too.
It was a self-made pizza, so whatever we could find. But I do have some things to mention on topic here, on brand. Think of this game from the perspective of Falstad. It's quite scary. Basically, almost everybody could kill you 1v1 with Abathur helping you, so not technically 1v1. But Genji, Muradin, Sylvanas, all of them can chase and take him down. There we go, a little bit of damage being put on him, and this is one taste of what's to come.
Right.
Falstad cannot play this game comfortably. That's my first concern here for him.
No, I'm looking at him behind the gate right now, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I've felt this in Storm League before. You just can't step out.
Yeah, I hate playing against Genji and Zeratul as Falstad and Tracer.
It's like, all right, I just clear from safe and I get stacks when I can. But your other points that you did have, because we just have camps right now, nothing very, very big to discuss on the map beyond that.
Yeah, it's a really cool mobile sustaining draft, like Justin mentioned, for Granit Gaming. They have double globals. They are very good at disengaging every single character, and that makes them good at stalling, delaying tributes, and playing off of attacking towers whenever you have a numerical advantage. However, Storm Esports is fairly happy with stalling tactics as well, with that key pick Abathur on the final slot. Additionally, because there's no Anubarak on the side of Granit, but there is a Sylvanas on the side of Storm, they're actually better at doing unaided pushes against enemy forts. Wobby with the drag tongue, good direction, but short by an inch.
Trying just to flank into the enemy, and I do like that Wubby did hold the drag there for a little bit, because Lauber and the rest of Storm Esports were doing a great job of playing within the wave. This is a concept that before Dahaka was in the game, this was always the thing. If you play against the Stitches, you play in the wave. If there's no wave, you can just kind of back up and wait for another one to come, so that way you can avoid the hooks coming out from him. So I do like the way that Storm is addressing, or at least trying to play against Granite Gaming, but Lauber is just getting chunked in the mid lane, has to back away, got the hat for a second, and I'm just skimming through talents. We are going to be actually seeing the Needle Spine at level 4 for the Abathur, so no auto attack speed increase with the Adrenal Overload.
Yeah, I think it's a little overrated. It's also worse for Genji than for some, but in general I think auto attack speed is a little overrated. Storm League and CCL. It is damage. It's mostly good to proc CDR effects of auto attacks or like stuns for Muradin, and it is very, very good. But oftentimes you don't get to auto as much as you ideally envision in fights. And Needle Spine has a number of cool benefits. You can stab with Abathur Symbiote on the tower and still hit Siege Giants. Without Needle Spine you don't have the range. It is good damage. Damage is always good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't rely people to auto attack. For instance, Genji does not get to auto attack during deflect.
Correct.
That's something to consider.
Like, if there was a Tychus on the team, or an Illidan, or a Samuro, maybe you consider that Adrenal Overload, but I agree with you. You're increasing the range and damage by 20%, which is, well, as you mentioned, range and damage, always beneficial for those poke moments, as the first objective will go over to the side of Granite Gaming, doing a good job of controlling the map, and also, one thing is making sure that Abathur isn't getting the split value that he typically wants during these objective phases. We will see that Mule coming down, that level 7 talent for Abathur, but I think that's one thing we didn't really discuss much in the start of this game, was when you play against an Abathur, especially on a map like Cursed Hollow, or any of these maps where the objective phase can be delayed out by the enemy, and that's where Abathur constantly soaks. I like how quick Granite played that initial objective, not giving any experience over, and seemingly it's Granite still ahead in experience. I'm gonna check really quickly. This might just be a wave clear thing here and there. But yeah, I think it's pretty close. It's just a wave or two that hasn't been caught. So even experience between both sides as we get into the second objective, favoring the Granite side.
Yeah, identical passive XP. Mercenary XP is now 8 points apart.
Okay.
Because the later you take a camp, the more XP it gives. So yeah, Granite has 8 more XP from Mercenaries.
They're winning!
On a total, we're winning! Yeah. On a total of 19,000 XP. That's nothing.
Buy, sell, get your Ball Street bets in right now, of course, because it's ever shifting. But Mexi will be delayed out by Maka for now. It doesn't. Oh wait, Genji comes in. There's going to be an auto attack to delay out once. Some Shurikens to go out as well for that Shuriken Mastery level 4. But CPX is a little isolated. Gets the agility over the wall. The damage from Cassie is enough, and first blood goes to the side of Granite Gaming, as well as their second objective tribute point.
Confirmed not a cat. Genji narrowly escaped death earlier on with 96 health somewhere in the mid lane. This time they do take him down. AZ Azurite was ready to finish him off right then and there. Lauber missing a couple of Stormbolts right now. His level 7 talent is Skullcracker. Heavy impact can help with slows to hit your Stormbolt better. But Skullcracker synergizes with Stormbolt as well, so long as you get 3 consecutive auto attacks. When you get that mini stun, you can then do the Stormbolt. Just needs a little bit more time with the opponent. But all together, Storm, they're down 2 tributes, they're down a little bit of XP, they just lost someone. They lost a tower, top, and they're muling bottom. So losing a single tower with Abathur and 1 death, I think that's very, very okay. And many people watching right now may not 100% understand Abathur's roles in pro play. Maybe you've played quick match and you think Abathur's role is to lay 13 nests and try to blow someone up and record it and put it in a WTF moment. But
I feel called out.
we need to talk
Yeah,
later.
thank you. Okay.
Abathur mostly is a late game hero. You're happy to reach level 16 with him, even happier to reach level 20. And so any stalling is fantastic for Abathur teams.
And Abathur will be up in that top lane trying to...
Nice bolt!
Oh my god, that was such a great delay from Lauber. I really thought that the Q from Cassia was going to connect, but it's not going to be the case as the Abathur was trying to amplify the siege through top lane. The tribute point will go over to the side of Storm Esports, but Curse could be for the side of Granite Gaming. The next tribute will be in the top center of the map. As the boss falls... it's one of those things where it's like, oh, do you want to jump into Granite Gaming? But I'm realizing their comms aren't in English. Do you still want to jump in and maybe listen to what they're talking about or something? Or maybe we jump into Storm. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we should definitely favor Storm here, as most of our viewers can understand them, and it's Swedish for Granite. I think mostly we should jump into Granite Gaming comms when it's very exciting. They're about to lose, they're about to win, and then we'll just basically enjoy their emotions and their energy more than that we actually understand what they're talking about.
So on that note, would you like to jump into Storm, see how they contest this objective?
Yeah, I think it's an important one. Let's do it.
In we go.
We just leave now so we can play the objective.
Word.
Abba can soak bottom. They might just give this one. This position is kind of bad for them.
We don't see them. Oh, we
Yeah, we
see
might have
two.
a couple of mine.
Yeah. Can we like go on them right now before Fasta
Yeah.
can go? Like play aggro here on Blades, for example.
Yeah, one breeze, I'm mech striking. Yeah, arrow.
You got pull.
Damage, good damage, good damage.
Thanks.
Okay,
But watch
out.
me.
Give it time,
jump
give it
out.
time.
Oh,
That's nice.
Our side's not
Okay, we got it now.
fly. Yeah,
Let's get the
both sides
objective.
not looking to fly.
okay.
Yeah, my so
We should fight them here if they come
Okay.
over.
Hack a dig.
Yeah,
Okay.
Saka. I don't have cleanse.
No clone.
Please hit the rack, hit the front, hit the front.
Yeah.
If it's done,
Alright, well, I'm
I have no mana, but
I'm just gonna
I can
buy-
just...
Yeah, we can kill Raka now though, he has no essence.
Someone vision on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slide
Might be
bomb.
dead.
Come for me, come back and put.
Arrow.
We got the cap though, if you can
Our side's
run.
looking.
Yeah, I live.
I might...
Dream
Yeah,
might be
I'm
dead.
out.
Trouble.
Okay.
I think maybe next time you have to drop the...
Well, they may have gotten the cap. They lost out a little bit, but overall, I still feel like that's a Granite win. Like, they didn't get...
Aha!
Yeah?
Next time they have to what?
Next time they have to... Oh, did I pull you out way too early?
I'll never know what they have to do next time.
Well, the good thing is the audience did hear it because I pulled out the production lastly, so the audience heard it. So it is on the VOD, but my apologies. Sorry, I jumped out of there because I was like, oh, it's all over. Let's get back and start casting for everyone at home. But I still think that was still a win for Granite. Like, yes, the enemy got the tribute point, but double kill.
Yeah.
They open up the map further. This is Granite's momentum just skyrocketing. I love this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, they could have given it up and it'll be fine. It's like, yeah, we don't need this tribute. Let's do something else that's cool and you can try to get a forward. Instead, you get double kill, further the experience lead. Super solid. Now, this tribute is an interesting position. Oh, nice Stormbolt on the barrel roll. Boyk has to use Mighty Gust to get away. Mighty Gust for X-Strike use right now. Avatar is available once again. This tribute is an interesting position because it is actually really hard. Oh, the isolation in a reach! Whoopee!
Youch. Okay, well, the big thing right now is the members of Storm don't want to lose out on anyone, and that was the Abathur clone on Rhaegar going down on the left-hand side. Ancestor Healing will go out into CPX, who does agility back into the enemy team, and Lauber going up into the top lane. He's immediately saying, and I'm sure if we were in the comms, Lauber's just like, leave and soak, or he's trying to, they need to get around the map, because right now, the Abathur team, Storm Esports, they're down a solid level, 3 kills. They've got to make something happen on this map.
Yeah, this is actually a really good position for Storm to be in right now because Abathur can get so much XP. They're even going to try and get the Haka kill, but this is Wooby. Can you really get him? He's got enhanced agility. Now he's making use of the movement speed from Tyrael. Got a shield. Stormbolt missed. There's the yoink. Granite Gaming doing everything they can to keep him alive, and Wooby has made it out. Nice extraction. My, they were cursed. And what actually happened? Almost nothing. Storm got almost nothing out of it. It's such a good defense by Granite, actually.
I mean, in bottom lane, it's Poik and Azurite who are stepping up to a bottom lane fort, and that is going to be... Oh, the mule's cleared out. Nice job from Granite Gaming just to get rid of that before they back away. And seems like we're going to see a trade onto bosses from either side, respectively.
This was such a good defense for Granit. They came in with the disengage for Wooby. Wooby, perfect bait. And Falstad was all the time deep pushing bot to the point where Granit did even more fort damage almost than Storm. Just almost. Now, boss trade. There is Mule available. Bottom fort is not going to be able to be muled. Let's see, what's his cooldown on Mule? It's at 20 seconds. So bottom fort falls to Granit Gaming's boss. Granit Gaming will try to defend top boss. And now, constantly, Storm is under the gun because they're up against 2 tribute points. Their own curse didn't do much. And that wastes them 3 tribute points. Yep. Granit still has their 2, so Granit's in a great spot.
That's one of those hard objective phases where you really don't find much, and spending anywhere, what was it, like 10 to 20 seconds just chasing a Dahaka for no kill feels just really, really bad in that moment. And obviously, hindsight, you know, we can recognize these things, but in the moment it was like, I think you kind of alluded, like, I don't think you're gonna get this kill, and I was like, I don't think so either, especially with Tyrael floating around. He did have Sanctification, but all of that is over. The next objective should be fairly soon on that bottom left of the map, as Grubby alluded to, which is going to favor the side of Granit Gaming. So Storm Esports have to play aggressive, and they have to be the ones to step in here. But a little bit of map cleanup has to happen from both sides. And all heroics are off cooldown. When we look at 16s, the big thing to note is we do have that Dwarf launch for the extra range and cooldown reduction, but also the elongated tongue for that Dahaka on the opposing side. Gonna have a little extra range to try and nab the enemy. And also, Feeding Frenzy does increase that duration by, I believe, 0.5 seconds.
Let's see, Lauber jumped real deep. Reese getting attacked there. That's really good shurikens by CPX.
Yeah.
He did so much damage. He knew he had to cast Sanctification to save himself. Breeze running away. Lauber coming in. He's trying to hit the Stormbolt. He did.
What?
He just Stormbolted. Thin air, Bahamut.
I know, right? Like, he had the intuition to say, not now, but now is when I throw my Stormbolt, because that is when Tyrael's going to use his Eldrune's Might. That read from Lauber was, mechanically, it was just so beautiful. Like, it's...
5 head.
It's huge. Like, it's and we're making a big deal out of it, but it's like, that's not easy to do. Like, especially on Lauber's ping as well. Keep that in mind. That's a drag from Dahaka, Light Bomb from Anduin, and that's a CPX trade.
Uh-oh.
But
that's unusual.
They do...
I mean, that... Unfortunate.
But they do... Storm Esports do deny the curse over to the enemy. That is, I think, the big thing to take away here. Yes, they do trade on heroes, Tyrael for Genji, but I think they slowed the bleeding here on the side of Storm, because Storm kind of... They really need to start stepping into Granit Gaming somehow, some way, instead of trading in that moment. Well, I mean, it's literally only been 1 kill for the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, well, this was a little greedy by CPX. Like, Lauber was doing a scout, belatedly found Falstad, decided to do a Stormbolt, it missed, and that should be the end of that. He dodged the root and Genji caught it. Now without him alive, this fort might die. Storm would really like to keep this alive. They have Mule, they really want to take this down. Let's see, is he going to use Black Arrow to take down those siege camps? Not right now.
No, they're going to hold on to it. Okay. So Fort will get nearly 4,000 health back, but the chase continues onto Breeze. Here comes CPX looking for revenge. Getting that Shuriken auto attack kind of rotation and abilities. Lauber gets the vision, and he seems to back away. I do want to point out really quickly.
Look at this.
Wait. Double.
It's the Abathur copy, literally to buy time to get another tribute.
Yeah, it is. It's just to push everyone back, get the dismounts. Nasmus. Oh, here comes Flight from Falstad, though. And that's a Tyrael who's going to be saved by the Wind Tunnel. This is a 20v18 fight in levels. Wind Tunnel comes out. Lauber and friends looking to maybe back away. Breeze stepping forward to anchor for the team. Has that re-teleportation onto the Eldrune's Might. And now Wubby gets the channel. The wave in bottom is pushed up significantly, and we can see Granit rushing to bottom.
Interesting fact, the exact second that this curse ends, both bosses become available.
Oh, dang.
That's going to be interesting in 1 minute from now.
Well, it depends. If Granit Gaming oversteps here, then we could see a potential boss for top or bottom to Storm Esports, but let's actually see what does happen. Abathur Clone is up in 30 seconds, Dahaka Isolation in 19. The keep in bottom lane is taking significant damage as the Siege Giants do step in, and top lane Fort should fall to the minion wave that has arrived up there already. Breeze goes in, that's going to be some decent damage, but Eldrune's Might back to his team.
So I'm gonna try out this Breeze Tyrael build a bit. I always thought it's the best utility to go for the level 4 and 7 talents for extra slows and speeds. But he's using this as a teleport in, deal like 500 to 1,000 damage on someone, and then go back again, teleport out. It offers vision, he's doing a bit of slow, he's poking and hurting someone, as if he's some kind of long-range character, but he's doing that with the double teleportation.
It's like a tanky Zeratul in a sense, but
Yeah.
Lauber goes in, lands the Stormbolt on a Falstad. That's the Leap of Faith. It's the singular pull, checking for Anduin really quickly. Does have another pull available. The Wailing Arrow was used in this engagement, so... And, actually, that's also Clone. Nasmus clones June, and they're all going to rush in on the side of Storm Esports.
Yeah, double Rhaegar. Rhaegar going in for a little bite, or at least he's trying. Puts one totem down, and that's the end of that little clone.
Flank.
Now, Storm wants to step up here and fight, even though they don't have copy. It's because they are down a keep. They want any kind of good fight. Let's see if Murdy can stay alive. That's a good Ancestral. Is there a second charge of Ancestral? Yes, and it even heals Genji. This could be a really good fight for Storm.
Genji is going to try and get some damage into Breeze right now. Wubby's low, Poik as well. Breeze gets the Druin's Might out. Does he go back in? I doubt it. And that is disengaged from both sides. I really like the Ancestral healing from June, but no, CPX goes back in. He's going to try and get some shurikens. Azerite on the right side, looking for a flank angle. Drag will connect onto Lauber. He doesn't have Avatar for 51 seconds, gets the Dwarf launch away, has those block stacks. Azerite goes in with the Fend. Now Lauber, isolated from the team. Poik looking for that kill. And Lauber will get his trait to kick in here. He's going to get the Abathur hat, gets the Dwarf launch farther away, as bottom lane is going to start taking... He's going to be pushed up quite a bit. Abathur should have the control on that one. Wait, Storm, are they going to re-engage again?
They have to. This boss tends to end game, especially with Sanctification, so they're going to go in again. They're going to try to steal this, but they have no mechanics really to steal this away.
Wind Tunnel comes in. Wubby gets the channel onto it. Lauber lands a massive Stormbolt as the Essence will be utilized. Oh no, Wubby just burrows into the ground. CPX goes for the deflect, but it's not enough. Azerite gets the kill. Light Bomb does go out, but Lauber gets the Dwarf tossed away. Poik is hungry for the kill. Breeze gets the speed. Lauber gets his trait. That's an Abathur hat for now, and he should actually get this win. Lauber should win this 1v1 because that Bronze Beard Rage. But can they clear bottom? Wubby rushes to core.
Yeah, they're on core already. Core shield is evaporating. Boss is still pushing in. Storm, they had no choice but to re-engage at the boss because they knew a boss will end their core. And rather than trying to steal the boss, they tried to win the fight. Lauber jumped in on the backline, but the gust from Poik was too good. It pushed Mokka Sylvanas into a corner where he got rooted and boss stunned and got taken down. It's a nice try from Storm, but Granit Gaming will be taking the first map victory in this first best of 5 of today.
GG's over to Granite Gaming. Well played from them. Honestly, the break that we've had, I said it last in week number 3, and I'll say it again this week. This Granite Gaming's looking very, very good today. They are hungry for that win, and I mean, Storm Esports is a fantastic roster, but like Granite Gaming, they just made that roster look like they didn't know what they were doing in a sense. Like it felt so reactionary constantly from the side of Storm Esports. It felt like Granite Gaming was driving the game, was driving the pacing, was driving just the rotations in a lot of the map. But of course, Justin, I'm sure you have a lot more to break down as we welcome you back into the broadcast.
Yeah, Granite Gaming playing that really well, basically from start to finish. Not a whole lot of real big issues for them throughout that game. They had a good strategy on a macro front from the beginning, where they have the double global in top and bottom, and they make the game sandwich, and they're just pushing in top and bottom at the same time at all times, basically, with those double globals. Then they have just a sustained little death ball running around, looking for kind of protecting their side lanes. They weren't really just pushing a lane, because if you just push a lane against something like a Genji with an Abathur, you sort of leave yourself vulnerable to getting ganked. They were kind of playing a little bit slower in the early game, and just constantly whittling down structures, which into Abathur is really strong when you're still fighting against the walls. And Poik, especially on Falstad, I wasn't sure whether Wubby or Poik, both of them were kind of my nominees for MVP, but I think Poik in the end kind of performed a little bit better overall. We didn't see him a ton in the early game, but he was doing his job on the Falstad, and when his team really needed him, they were there. This was a really cool moment where Lauber, we were listening to the comms, and Lauber wasn't quite sure he was going to go down here. Just the CC from the tongue from Wubby and the light bomb was enough to be able to secure that kill. And then here again, like Poik just shows up in the perfect moment just to get there right before the Ancestral goes off. That whole time before then, he was clearing mid. The last fight by the bottom boss was really the moment that ends the game, though. This Gust was a nice try at saving Breeze. This is the moment where we see the Stormbolt from Lauber from the future. Lauber playing from the his time machine. We've got the prediction on the recast on the teleport. Breeze's build was interesting on the Tyrael. It's what I talked about, the damage build. It was really good at just kind of disrupting the backline of Storm and creating a lot of pressure on their backline when they're trying to kind of look for those dive-ins. Something like a Sylvanas is relatively safe normally, but when you're up against something like that damaged Tyrael, things get a little bit scary. And this was the fight where they ended up losing for Storm. Storm used all of their ultimates before this, and the wind tunnel from Poik came up just as this boss was capped. That's the main thing to note, is that Storm started this whole this whole fight began with Storm using their they cloned the Rhaegar and sort of just tried to force a fight, but Granite Gaming rightly disengaged that, understanding that they can't fight into the clone, that the clone is needed for Storm to win fights, and they kind of kite back to their fort. They all live from Granite. They trade all the ults for all the ults, but Granite with no ults is a lot stronger than Storm with no ults, because Storm is very combo based and one-shot heavy. So they all went and tapped, played around the boss, and just kind of desperation by Storm at the end there. A little bit weird. They could have maybe looked to trade boss and fight on their core, but Storm definitely just looking a little bit dismantled at the end there by Granite. Granite just seemed just stronger throughout the game overall. And we did hear in the comms, Lauber trying to take control of the team a bit, being real aggressive. But we'll see if he's able to kind of rally his troops for game 2.
Oh, I mean, it was a very good game number 1 from both sides, but Granite Gaming, as I said, kind of driving that game consistently from base. It felt like level 7 onward. It was pretty much Granite Gaming driving a lot of that. And we can talk about some other really cool map stuff because we know where we're going to for map number 2. And I actually have a fun little stat, actually, as I'm looking back here. The last map Storm Esports chose to take us to Cursed Hollow. That's their best map, Grubby. They were 3-0 on that map, now with a 3-1 score. Now, of course, Storm Esports, as the losing team, have opted in for first pick priority, giving Granite Gaming map pick, and Granite Gaming will now choose to take us to their quote-unquote best map, early data for the season, but they're 2-0 for the side of Granite Gaming on Garden of Terror. So, Grubby, I feel like these teams that we're going to comforts. We're going to comforts here.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So Granite Gaming had just 2 map wins.
Yeah. And they were both
Both
Garden.
of them, you're saying?
Yeah.
Is Garden of Terror.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they can now add Cursed Hollow to that to their roster, and they only played 2 series so far. But it's still interesting to see that both of them were Garden of Terror victories. Nice little stats there, Bahamut. And let's see what they did on Garden of Terror, right? Against Diamond Hands, it was the first map of the series, and they won it.
I remember that
obviously.
one. That was the one where Diamond Hands kind of, quote-unquote, threw a little bit in the bottom lane. Do you remember that on the keep where they overextended?
I do not remember that.
That's fair. That was like week 1 or something.
I look here at the picks for Granite, and it was very strong on the macro play. Johanna, Rhaegar as their respective heroes in that role as some of the best at wave clear. So Johanna, one of the best tanks at wave clear, Rhaegar the best healer at wave clear. And then they went Falstad, Sylvanas, and Daka. That was 100% push power, and that's how they saw Garden of Terror really going heavy on the PvE. Then for Granite Gaming to win against Oxygen, also the first map of the series, again, it was Sylvanas, but this time Blaze, Lunara, Malf, and Muradin. Sylv has been useful for them there. For the rest, other picks. Very interesting.
It's really exciting stuff. Like, and that was actually the first time Granite has even played on Cursed Hollow this entire season. So we're gonna have more and more map data as the season does progress as well. And we're just about ready to go into Garden of Terror. Any thoughts as we're about to get ready for this one, Justin?
Just Granite needs to keep it up if they want to make me not look stupid with my first place Granite power rankings that we did at the start of the season. They're currently 0-3, so this is where they've got to turn it around if they want to get that 4-3 scoreline by the end. This is where it starts, so let's go Granite.
All right, well, caster bias doesn't exist whatsoever, but we are here into Garden of Terror, map number 2. And so, you know, I talked about the Lucio thing at the start of the last draft, and there was a really cool idea that was brought up, Grubby, in that we're in this meta of kill the tank, that kind of front-to-back meta. Do you feel like you're experiencing that in your own games, and have you been playing that style yourself, or are you trying to move away for maybe, like, dive the back, kill the Hanzo sort of play style?
I'm not sure. It's really hard to build like a style around countering Hanzo because he's all the way in the back. So like, there's only a few heroes that can reach him.
Sure.
Usually Hanzo is just ignored. You try to dodge the arrow, and for the rest you have like a Tracer or a Genji. Then you go for him, or a Zeratul. And if you don't have one of those 3, then you just have to dodge arrows all game long, I feel like.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see if the arrows do come out for Garden of Terror, but of course, Justing, some priority bans coming out right now. Dahaka being targeted out right there, and I wonder if there might be actually any other targets. Maybe I doubt it, Cassia, but there's that Joanna.
Yeah, Falstad would be something that I'd like to see prioritized by Storm if they aren't going to be willing to ban it here in their first rotation, which they haven't. We see the Johanna banned away, which Breeze did play that earlier, but he has shown to just really like the Tyrael a lot, even though it's not super meta right now. We've seen quite a bit of Breeze going towards that Tyrael. It feels like he's kind of playing the most different things of all the tanks, kind of experimenting with stuff. We saw him play ETC, which we pretty much never see. So just a lot of, it feels like Breeze kind of trying to find his footing again in the tank meta, trying to try all the tanks out a bit and trying to see what works for him. And so far the Tyrael has felt pretty strong alongside that Johanna that's banned away. But we do see the normal bans, Lucio Junkrat banned away. Yep. So no surprise there. Granit having the draft meta down pretty solid at this point, it seems.
Ooh. And we will get the bouncy boy Hogger, so excited to see if Nasmus can find the same angles as Liam last weekend, or a couple weekends ago, because, dear lord, I mean, we had it in the pre-show, Grubby. Liam's Hogger was absolutely insane, but we already get a Blaze who's, oh man, paired with Sylvanas, this is beautiful for Granit.
Yeah, this was like, with the way we understand the meta and what we just heard about the picks of Granit Gaming, there was almost no other way that this would go. Hogger and Dahaka are gone, so Blaze must be picked now, lest it be banned out in the third ban. And Sylvanas is available, and she's been rising steadily in priority and in threat level since the beginning of the season, so going in with the Sylvanas pick there makes a lot of sense. The continuous, heavy emphasis and interest in Rhaegar by Storm. June picks it up again with Tychus coming out.
I'll have to do some stats after the stream today and figure out where the Rhaegar sits in win losses, because I feel like we have seen him quite a bit, and he has had some. I feel like it's a very polarized. Like, I feel like the stats gonna be polarizing compared to like what Grubby had been saying, where it's very, very popular in Storm League and has a higher win rate. So I'm curious to see in conjunction with that. But there are a few bans already happening here, Justing, and ooh, forcing Breeze onto something other than Tyrael. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll see the ETC come out. Probably not, but I don't think this would be as rough of a game for him as he had on Tomb of the Spider Queen when he played it. Also, last game, it's not entirely indicative of how a normal game would play out, as they did have the Abathur for Nazmaz, which it's not really a normal offlane, so it's not a huge surprise to see them prioritize the Hogger now so that Nazmaz can get something he's comfortable with, since we haven't seen him this season yet. He is the 6th member for the team normally, but coming in to play this week. Nazmaz was quite good as an offlaner though in the previous season, so it's not like it's a role that he's not comfortable with.
Right.
But this should be a little bit more normal for him playing something like Hogger. Abathur, a little bit weird in the meta right now. It's hard to get value on him sometimes, and I think we saw that in the last game.
Well, I mean, if you just pick Illidan, you win. I mean, we've done this at Please Try This at Home. I mean, you pick Illidan and Abathur, win the game, easy GG. That's how you get to Grandmaster.
He didn't put enough traps in the bush, I think.
Grubby, I will say this: we did an Abathur Sergeant Hammer combo where it was Abathur mines and Sergeant Hammer mines. It was beautiful, but
we heard about that 2 weeks ago in CCL, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'm never gonna let that go. I'm still riding that high. But of course, while we have Justing still here, I do want to get your thoughts because the draft unfolded completely. Some really cool pickups.
Yeah, I still think about that game every night. But we've got the Chromie here as the last pick coming out from Storm, which makes it pretty good for Breeze that he didn't go with that ETC. So he's not going to be having any remembrance of that one game he had on the ETC. It's good that he did pick up the Murden early. It's also a deny pick from Lauber, so he was unable to get it. And on Garden, we have a lot more standard composition now from Storm. We have a really good front to back, with Hogger being able to play a little bit more safe, just playing to auto attack and Q, and not have to use his E aggressively to dive in, while he has the Tychus and Chromie that are going to kind of set up their zones. But they do have the option to dive in with the Anubarak, so Storm has a very, they kind of get to choose their playstyle if they want to play front to back or if they want to dive the back line, whereas Granit is a lot more just front to back, play a little bit slow on the front line and wait to whittle them down with all the poison damage from the Sylvanas and Lunara. Much more of the same from Granit in the composition, and Storm's composition is a little bit different from last time, so it's a little bit more standard.
Alrighty, well thank you, Justing, as we've got Granit Gaming in the blue, Poik on the Lunara, Breeze on the Muradin, Wubby on the Blaze, Azerite on the Sylvanas, and Smexy on the Anduin. Over on the right, it's Storm Esports, Nasmus on the Hogger, Auger. Lauber on the Anubrak, Mach on the or on the Tychus, excuse me. CPX on the Chromie and June on the Rhaegar. Grubby, I'm gonna vote for Storm Esports again. I like what they put together here. I think this is a more well synergized composition. Maybe I want to change my opinion, or maybe I don't. I'm not 100% sure. Yes, I'll change my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. I will stick with Storm Esports. It was just a fluke of a kill, but I really do like the way that they built this composition out, and I'm sure you've got a couple things you want to talk about too.
Yeah, Granit Gaming 1-5 versus 3. I think that's expected. What's cool is that with Sylvanas, you can pick a direction, either top or bottom, and try to get a black arrow enabled tower push and just kind of cheese down the tower. Enemy teams against Sylvanas always know this. Oh, look at that. Cool playing out of vision by Nazmas, but he didn't get the staggering blow and the stun on Lunara. So, because enemy teams know you have a Sylvanas and can do that, you either send your defenders top or bottom. It's kind of like in a game of football or soccer, if you will, where the goalkeeper has to pick a direction during a penalty kick and just kind of commit to it, and then try to play it from there with the skill that you have. Unfortunately, Storm got a little overeager. They were 3, they found the Sylvanas, and that should have been the end of that. They should think defensively. And it turns out that Granit Gaming had all 5 available there. So when they stepped up to try and get a kill with the Nubarak and Tychus, it quickly drew the June Rhaegar cleanse. Even that was not enough, because when Blaze came in, it was she bangs, she bangs.
Like Ricky Martin?
Like Ricky Martin.
Okay, I just want to make sure. That I had that right. But it very, very true. And as we look around the minimap right now, we are going to be seeing quite a few camps grabbed from both sides, and that's the big priority. Actually, in mid lane, we're going to be seeing a bit of a dive onto Murd, and there might be a potential kill onto him, as we'd have that bounce out from Nazmus. And it's just more camps to be funneled into the mid lane, as we do have the Lunara up against the Chromie in the bottom. First seed will be spawning in the bottom right of the map. The Shamblers will be available for the team that can grab 3 of the seeds, much like Curse Hollow, which we were just on. Just a different push mechanic, but here in bottom lane, Poik sidesteps the burrow in from Anubrak. It doesn't sidestep. I was like holding my breath. I was like, does he sidestep? But there's the bite from the butt from June, and first kill for the side of Storm Esports. That's a nice kill, because the objective phase just comes up. 8 seconds on Lunara. The assumption is that Storm can get this, but no one's there quick enough, and you still have to go through those pesky little sappers.
Oh, look at that damage coming in from Azerite on Nazmas, but he got away with a nice little spin. In comes Breeze with the Stormbolt on Tychus, quickly runs away so that they don't turn around on him, but actually that's... The way is blocked! The way is blocked! Oh my god, that's like... That feels like such a large pass through those, but that was a very precise burrow charge and block by Lauber. Yeah, Breeze thought he can just go in with the Dwarf Toss and Bolt and then get away, but that's not the thing of it. Nice defense there by Storm.
Really crowding the hallway with that Anubrak big body. As we peek into bottom lane, the Anduin is being forced back by Anubrak and Chromie. Smexy just doesn't want to get hit by any sort of artillery or just random CC thrown out by the Anubrak. And a little bit of siege through bottom lane. Next seed will be on the Granit Gaming side, top left of your minimap, and it will be even talent tier 7-7.
See some cool talents coming out. Anubrak going with the full carapace build.
Yeah.
So instead of every 7 seconds, he could have every 4 seconds a shield, which gives movement speed, a point shield, and 65 spell armor. This is particularly good against Lunara, because you're guaranteed to get the full 3-second cooldown reduction each time with that level 7. So that is going to be his build. He's going to be relatively mobile. It's going to be relatively well protected. But he does miss out on the slows from Bed of Barbs.
You know, I'll be honest, I rarely take Bed of Barbs at level 4. I love Shed Exoskeleton, because you pop W, you got Mount Speed. Well, it doesn't look like Mount Speed's gonna help him out too much right there, and maybe Bed of Barbs would have saved him. But either way, nice slowing sand to try and zone back the enemy wasn't enough. June and Nazmus were in bottom lane, so I do think that was also a significant reason why we saw the dive onto the Anubrak, since there was no healer, there was no Hogger with any sort of displacement. So overall, Granit Gaming was some good reads in these engagements, picking apart Storm Esports kind of well, but it's still 2-2 in kills. Still feel like Granit has the momentum here.
So right now there's no camps pushing, but Sylvanas is better than any camp there is.
Right,
so
exactly.
rather than being able to take the 2 siege camps that are available, Storm has to respond to Sylvanas. And the thing is, as long as Sylvanas keeps her wits about her, The moment you come and try to stop her, she walks away, damage has already been done. Granit Gaming is controlling this game very well, actually, because the moment Sylvanas pushes anywhere, they know anywhere from now, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, enemy's gonna have to come here. And by depending how much force Sylvanas shows, they can make a prediction about how many Storm defenders need to go. Sylvanas was with 3, so they know 3 at least need to respond. And after that, there's still a wave pushing. So when she leaves, they know, okay, now you're going to be on siege. Now we can go here instead. We can try to set up a kill somewhere else. Stay out of vision. It offers a lot of vision and map control manipulation. But here's a big play on Blaze. They're trying to blow Grubby up before he can use his bunker. He decides not to use it, sets it up here for Anduin so that when Anduin comes out of the cocoon, but look at that, Nazmas with the staggering blow. He pushes Anduin away from the bunker. This was very well played by Nazmas. Nice positioning and prediction.
Well played from Maka as well on the Commandeer Odin, just dumping in damage with the Annihilation, and Wubby does have to hearth back, almost getting delayed out by Maka, and that will be the seed over to the side of Storm Esports. 2 out of 3, they'll have that advantage, or excuse me, potential seed coming up here, as we do have the Hogger running to mid lane to go clear things out. I gotta say, that fight was really well controlled from Storm. That was honestly, I really thought Lauber was going to die. I thought it was all going to fall apart. And here's the re-engage. Breeze, Wubby, they want the kill, but was this too egregious of a play? Yep.
Yeah, that was... Dwarf Toss interrupted. Yep, easy kills there. Laying the smackdown is Storm here, Storm Esports. That was really well done. But, I mean, it was mostly Breeze and Wubby going out on a limb there, making a play by themselves that really had very little moral support from the team, I would say. They thought they saw an opportunity. Chromie got a free hit. CPX was very happy with that and was very easily held off by Storm. With that now, everyone is revived. Granit has a dwindling chance to fight over this difficultly positioned objective point.
And I don't know if Granit goes in for this. Lunara is still showing on the minimap to the side of Storm Esports that she's clearing the wave. So Lauber and friends, they should feel fine in this, and they will get the Garden Terror. Bottom lane pushes up right about to where the fort is. Mid lane's about halfway. Top lane closer towards the Storm side of the lane. But the big conversation in all of this is the kills that were successfully gotten on Breeze and Wubby. That pushes Storm Esports up a solid level, and they'll have 13 for this objective phase. This is huge for Storm.
Yeah, it's really big. That gave them enough XP, those 2 kills, to get the tribute easily, to get the seed easily, to have the talent lead now. The whole world is open for them. They're pushing hard in 2 of the lanes. Lunara, Poik, he stopped the bottom lane. Actually, nice defense as well in the center. It's mostly that top fort. And now they're trying to blow up Wubby again. Now, keep in mind, he has bunker, but we've already seen that Nazmas can counterplay the bunker and get ready for someone. Oh, that was... Oh, okay, well, it's still fine. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
CPX, you trolling, mate. You trolling. Nas missed the staggering, but the time trap was good enough to blow him up as well.
Smexy's the new target, and that was a nice annihilation onto the Anduin. I was watching the minimap during all of this top lane siege we were looking at, and Lauber was actually kind of anchoring in the rotation up into top lane, and that's kind of where Wubby was scouted out. That's how he was kind of isolated from his team, because Lauber was constantly pressuring him and no one from the side of Granit was stepping in. And it feels like such a different game from map number 1 here, Grubby. It's felt like such a pendulum shift, or a pendulum swing is the better way to say it.
Yeah, a paradigm shift or whatever it is, some kind of shift. Something shifted in the winds. Storm is just absolutely smacking this game. They lost that fort early game. Nice dodge there by CPX. Nice peel by Nazmas as well. He actually saved Chromie there. Light bomb misses because good CC by Storm. And Nubrak keeps getting chased. Does he have a... Yes, it's that CDR! It's a CDR, but Azerite is going deep. He was unable to confirm the kill on Lauber. But it's that... Oh my god, that grenade on Wubby. 151 health.
That was, oh my god. The moment I saw the health bar from the bunker, I started just skimming through Tychus talents. I'm like, where are you at? What are you using? do you have the ability to potentially kill? And almost, as we do have a nice back and forth, a fantastic objective phase for Storm. They definitely have to be feeling on a new level for this map number 2, because coming off of that loss on Cursed Hollow, I'm sure the morale was a little bit low in some of those moments. But let's see what happens here, because in bottom lane, there's no fort to retreat to. There's no hortipult. There is a shockwave, but now Lauber is in the flank. Isolation, or cocoon, excuse me, onto the Anduin. He's around 50% of that cocoon. The W comes out from Lauber. He's going to try and live. He tries to burrow. That's a nice... Oh my god, I can't believe that Lauber actually lived right there. He's going to try and get back into the fight with 400 HP. The Anduin will be going down. Nasmus looking for the angle. No shockwave available. Grenade goes out. Doesn't kill Poik. And that's Breeze to get hit by the burrowing from Lauber. He's tanking tower shots. Maka's the one. And that'll be Lauber to get the kill. That's very well played from Storm Esports. Again, with their 9th kill and nearly level and a half lead.
I wonder if that was on purpose. Nasmas shows as Hager in bottom lane. He knows there must be some eyes on the bottom lane. And he was totally safe. He goes away. And actually, Granit Gaming knew. They knew they made a mistake trying to chase Hager that far with the dwarf toss over the wall. They tried to get out, but Lauber was already there. Cocoon on Anduin, which Nasmas waited gratefully for. Let's take a look at it again, because this is another big widening of the gap here for Storm as we start the replay. Look at that. They're turning around. You have that Cocoon on Anduin. They're trying to blow up a Nubarak, but once again, those big carapace resets that he keeps getting are just insane. 4-second cooldown, guys. It's his build that's saving him here. And then look at that, Hogger finishing off the final Anduin while also setting up on Lunara / Murdin. Again, Nasmas, perfect loot horde into staggering blow. He's had a lot of good combos. It's not been a completely mistake-free game from him. He missed his shockwave on the cocooned Anduin that came out without damage ticks on the cocoon. But besides that mistake, it has been very, very clean by Nasmas. I do think he has done a great job here, and he can probably make his skill count for more than as he could on Abathur in the last game, where it's really just you're doing a lot of cleanup, constantly getting soak here and there, but unable to really be spectacular.
We need a Janitor Abathur skin now, too. That way I can go along with Leoric. But here's a re-engage into the fight around the objective phase, 1-1 in our seeds. There's a bottom lane camp in favor for Granit Gaming, so it's beneficial for Storm to rush through this. There is the Bruiser camp in top lane as well for Storm, as we have Lunara trying to flank in here. Blaze will get one interrupt with the oil slick. Chromie throwing out some sand. Wubby looking to get things. Oh my god, Wubby's just getting shredded by Maka, just trying to walk through that slowing sands. And now that is an isolated Blaze, great leap of faith over the wall. Maka wanted the kill, but he can't step in because that Lunara's got some decent damage. Wubby coming in here as well. Shockwave will be coming out onto Azure, gets the Haunting Wave. Breeze will have his trait kick in. Did go for that level 1. Lauber with the burrow. That's a great Earth Grasp totem to slow down the Anduin. Slowing Sand. Smexy tries to get in the bunker, but he just can't even get through the front door before he's going to be taken down. Grenade over the wall. Not even necessary as Maka shreds through. The Ancestor Healing will connect onto him. And with 2 dead, Grubby, the siege continues with the Commandeer Odin.
Yeah, what a spectacular chase here by Storm. Granit Gaming looked good, but mostly because they kept surviving on the brink. It wasn't exactly as much counter threat. Breeze tried to jump in for the interrupt. He actually bluffed. Breeze held his Stormbolt. He could have stopped the seed capture, but instead he held it because he wanted to see if he could get a kill. And then, finally when he bolted the tribute, it was too late. So the very reason he jumped in was already nullified by the fact that he didn't bolt immediately. And then everyone had to try and get Breeze out with that kind of aggressive jump, and everything else that happened afterwards is a result of.
Okay, there go. Granit's going in. I mean, it makes sense. There's no. It's sub 20. That's a light bomb. Shockwave. Hogger mitigates it with the self cleanse of the spin. There still is a wind up, and it's once again Storm Esports, mechanically savvy players, and it's being showcased today between Nasmus as well as Lauber.
Very important fight here for Granit Gaming. Storm was pretty low on mana, but all of them had a tap. This is a pre-20 fight. That's a double Stormbolt on Tychus Rhaegar. Not bad, but good luck running through a slowing sands. Oh, he just goes right past it. Sylvanas takes a lot of damage. Azerite has to jump away. He wanted to follow up, but now it's the 2 tanks that are getting absolutely blown to smithereens.
Such a great cocoon from Lauber to isolate the Lunara, and that allowed such great damage to be coming through. Now Smexy is the new target, who will try and keep himself alive. The Earth Grasp Totem will connect onto that Sylvanas, but it doesn't matter. Smexy is going to go down. The Ancestor Healing will come through. That was actually not even level 20 was picked up yet, so June didn't get the secondary wave, but it's a quadra kill to the side of Storm Esports, who surgically dismantled the members of Granite Gaming in that last fight. Like when we get out of this game, because it looks like it is going to be Storm Esports taking the victory and equalizing in score. I need to have Justin break down that entire last engagement, because it was amazing from Storm Esports, who equalized here on Garden of Terror. Well played, Grubby. Really, really well played from both of these teams. But Storm Esports, I said this leading into the matches today, and I'll say it throughout today. They are hungry for a victory, just as much, if not more, than Granite Gaming. Both these teams sit 0-3 in the record. One of them will find a victory, but of course, Justin, we got you back in the mix, and I'm sure there's a decent amount to talk about from Garden of Terror here.
Yeah, what a difference from game 1 to game 2, and I think a lot of that does come down to the draft and Nazmaz being on the Hogger this game. He had top hero damage for his team, just getting a ton of value on the Hogger. We saw multiple times the staggering blow, the knockback from the Q, being able to secure kills. We saw it in that bottom fight that kind of set the tone for the rest of the match, where it looked like Granite was really coordinated. They had the Anduin get cocooned, but they had what looked like it would be a Blaze to save him with the bunker. And immediately we have the knockback from Nazmaz to knock him all away from that. That kind of set the tone for how all the fights would go throughout the game, it felt like. And this game, Granite didn't really have the same kind of macro pressure that they had in game 1. They didn't have a foul stat just constantly chipping away at buildings. They didn't have that strong double offlaner that they had in game 1. They didn't have the double global, so they didn't have an advantage from there. And Lauber with his W build is nearly invincible against the double tick damage, magic damage from the Lunara and the Sylvanas. And I think the main thing that kind of made the fights seem nearly impossible for Granite was CPX on the Chromie with the slowing sands. I touched on in the draft that Granite Gaming's composition is pretty much forced to play front to back. They don't have amazing dive with everyone. They have heroes who can maybe dive with the Sylvanas and the Lunara, but it's not really the playstyle that you want with them. They're typically a lot more slow damage, and they were unable to play dive, even though it seemed like they needed to, against the damage of Storm because of that slowing sands. Every time they tried to play for it, the slowing sands would just make it impossible. Here, I was going to be a bit critical of this. I think Storm may have missed lethal here. I think they may have been able to just go end the game there with the 40-second death timers, but it didn't matter because they did end up winning this fight. They did give Granite a pre-level 20 fight. Granite does lose the fight, but you see here, Breeze trying to dive into the backline, and there's no way to follow up on this, especially heroes like Anduin. They don't have any way to contribute to this. And once Breeze is in, if they don't secure the kills, he can't get out because of that slowing sands. So I think a large part of why it felt kind of impossible in the late game team fights for them was that you don't have the option to kill Lauber on the front line because he has all of this spell armor and the cooldown reduction from his W build. Because of all the tick damage of the Lunar and the Sylvanas, they're going to just make it so that he always is taking damage to refresh his Ws. And then at the same time you dive in, you're diving into a Rhaegar with Totem build, and you're diving into a Slowing Sands. So you kind of just, you can't focus the front line, you can't dive the back line, you're kind of just in a doomed situation, it felt like, in the late game team fights. And we saw a lot of times SMX on the Anduin getting kind of left behind. That hero doesn't really contribute anything besides a light bomb to a dive, so you give him a light bomb, you say good luck, and that's kind of what you do as Anduin. After that, you don't really contribute, and we saw that he kind of got picked off in all of the counter engages from Storm. And I guess the main takeaway is Nazmaz on a normal meta pick looked super scary in game 2.
I gotta say, like, Storm Esports looks so much better, and I agree. Like, I think Nazmus on this Hogger, if he can get it again for map 3, it will be huge. But of course, as always, we are going to take a little bit of a break, a short break as always. We're gonna give these players some water, we're gonna let everyone stretch their legs, and when we come back, we will continue this series. We have a fantastic first best of 5 of the day. It's Granite Gaming versus Storm Esports. We sit 1-1 this best of 5 series. In the break, I want you to do one particular thing. I'd like you to hit the command ! Prize pool. Get yourself over to the match arena. If you'd like to donate towards the prize pool, it's always very much appreciated. We're at $7,735.69 because of your nice generosity, and I know all of you at home, we can push to 8K today. So if you'd like to get over to the match arena, ! Prize pool in chat. But as I said, when we come back from the break, game number 3 in our first best of 5 of the day. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justin, and we're getting ready for our third map in our first best of 5 of the day between Granite Gaming and Storm Esports. And of course, we had a little bit of a break, and what'd you guys get up to in your break? You have some fun? You go play some games? What'd you do?
Yeah, Doggo looked at me because it's so strange. His human is like shouting in a room, getting excited over games and stuff, more than usual even. So he was looking at me, took him out for a little bit of a walk, and removed the dick down those sticks.
Man, they just love Logan. I feel like this is constant with him. But Justin, what'd you get up to in the break, bud?
Got some coffee. I'm in the process of brewing some coffee, so
Oh,
got that. Coming in
so
hot,
you're growing the beans, you're roasting them, all that stuff in your own house.
Yeah, I just went. Yeah, I was in the back in the coffee field. I don't know.
I can't wait to get some Justin CCL brand coffee. I can't drink it, but I'll give it a shot. But either way, let's actually find out where we're going to for map number 3, because I do believe we have that information ready for all of you at home, and we are going to be heading to Infernal Shrines. This will be the map choice of Storm Esports. For anyone wondering, Infernal Shrines, Storm Esports record, they are 0-2, and on the side of Granite Gaming, we have not yet seen them on this map here, Grubby.
Yeah, okay. Infernal Shrines. Is it a little bit similar to Garden of Terror? There's quite a little bit.
I could see some. I could draw some parallels between those two maps. Absolutely.
3 lanes, medium size, and quite a few camps. It's just the objective works quite differently.
Yeah.
I think Sylvanas is very powerful here because you can help the Punisher to not even go down that quickly against forts. It turns maybe front wall and a bit of damage on the outer fort for the first objective, and it turns that into definitely your first fort, maybe your keep wall. So that can be pretty scary. And what's also good here is, of course, things that can follow up on the Punisher's jump. The Punisher jumps every 16 seconds. It cannot jump the first 5 seconds after it was summoned or so. So that's something to keep in mind when you play here. And then maybe after about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 seconds, the first time it's allowed to jump, it will jump, and then every 16 seconds. And it does so to anyone within, let's say, 500-600 range. And when you trigger any ability or auto attack in that range, and sometimes when you're just idling there for too long. So pro players, they will always pick heroes that have a self-cleanse or a dodge, and they will pull in the Punisher that is coming towards them with like a Vala Hungering Arrow, and then they vault out of range so that the Punisher misses the stun. If you don't do that, like in lower leagues, maybe in Storm League, 3 people, they group together in front of the gate, Punisher jumps in front of the gate, and it doesn't end up taking crossfire from all the towers and forts, and it gets too much value. And the attacking team, you want to follow up on the Punisher to get extra stuns after the Punisher gets a stun, if that works out. And for the first time, we see Junkrat being allowed through the draft. That's crazy.
This is the second Junkrat game in the season thus far. We had one in, I believe, week number 3. It was like one of the maps. Might have been.
BOE.
It was BOE. I just can't remember which team it was, but oh my god.
Simplicity.
It was Simplicity. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that was an easy W for them. But either way, let's dive into this one here, Justin, because we do have already some picks coming out from both sides.
Yeah, the Junkrat, we did see it the one time, like you mentioned, and I just remember it being unaverted specifically because he was doing the same thing he did on Hammer, where he was just running it down the bottom lane with the hero and just destroying the fort on BOE. So it's a bit of a different map. I'd say that Infernal Shrines is a better map for it.
Oh, sure.
Storm has to know that Junkrat is pickable here for that first pick, so I would have expected to see something like a Yrel being prioritized to be able to cleanse the traps from Junkrat. I would expect them to have something to counter it, either something that they can put in the traps to kind of absorb them. I would expect them to have a plan, because Junkrat is kind of ridiculous on this map. This might be his best map, and he has been almost permabanned. I think he's a little bit. I think he's a little bit better here still. The main thing on Dragonshire is that there's a lot of sort of like 2v1s and 1v1s where you can get basically just one shot as Junkrat, where the map's really split, whereas here you're always with your team. He is really good on both maps, but I mean, Junkrat's just ridiculous. Giving him away on this map, hopefully they have a plan for Storm.
What could be possibly a plan to counter Junkrat? Kharazim for triple cleanse, or
Monk has the cleanse. Yrel, like I mentioned, has the cleanse for the traps specifically because it cleanses roots.
Yeah, Hand of Freedom.
You can early game. You can have things that like an Asmodan can summon things, or a Zagara can summon things to tank it early game. There's not a ton though outside of just cleanse Or I suppose Anduin could be okay, just to be able to pull people out of them, because there's sort of a limited number of times where that's going to be detrimental. But they do go with the Rhaegar. That does have a relatively low cooldown cleanse, but not sure if that'll be quite enough. A little bit weird that we don't see the Chromie coming out from Storm, because it was very strong in their last game, and Chromie is ridiculous on this map with the slowing sands and the chokes.
Even a Mephisto I would have loved as well. I think this is one of his best maps to be able to kind of shade a Mephisto in, Lightning Nova, throw a Skull Missile, get cooldown reduction, just repeat that over and over. And with the double soak rotation, you do get that level 4 to proc quite a bit, and there it is. I'm sorry, but Granite Gaming wins this. I don't know what else Storm can draft here, but I really
Stitches? Could this be a Stitches draft? I know there's a Cocoon against you, and it's overrated against Mephisto, but I thought maybe a tank that stays a bit more back doesn't get abused as much by Junkrat.
Right. Nice call, Grubby. Well, with Grubby putting away his crystal ball so he doesn't see the rest of the games today, I gotta. But I do want to throw it over to Justin. Any thoughts on the drafts as we are going to load into Infernal Shrines Map 3?
Yeah, that was a good call on the Stitches. Murden was still available, which was kind of what I was expecting. It is Lauber, and he did save his pick for last pick, which is traditionally not what you want to do. Normally you want to have that be your flex pick. So picking the Stitches, that is his response to the kind of no real tank killing ranged on the side of Granite Gaming. Between the Junkrat and the Mephisto, they both kind of do a similar thing for the most part. Mephisto can take the level 16% damage, but that's not the most reliable. So Lauber using his pick as last pick as the tank is a little bit greedy, so he's going to have to carry the game with the pick. So I'm going to be watching his Stitches to try to look for good hooks off the shrine. Also, he does have the option to eat the Mephisto if he blinks forward, which does cut a lot of Mephisto's power on that hero, being able to gorge him and pull him back, or gorge him into your own team so that he's not able to teleport back. It's a very, very non-killing Lauber heavy team for Granite, so Lauber with the last pick, a little bit greedy, gonna have to carry on Stitches.
Alrighty, well, we're back into it. Thank you, Justin, as always. On the left-hand side, we got Granite Gaming, Smexy on the Brightwing, Azerite on the Junkrat, will be on the Dahaka, Poik on the Mephisto, and Breeze playing the Anubarak. Over on the side of Storm Esports, we got Maka on Sylvanas, June on the Rhaegar, Lauber on the Stitches, Nasmus on the Blaze, and CPX will be playing that Tychus. Now, Grubby, Junkrat, Mephisto, Anubra. I mean, there's so much on the side of Granite Gaming. I feel like, I don't know if Storm can actually do anything here. Like, maybe they get a kill or two here and there, but, I don't know about this moment right here, as that's going to be a lot of damage onto Nasmus, who does manage to get away. Big Soothing missed out from Smexy, and Breeze is able to back away, burrow out from Wubby as well. Hook goes out, connects onto the gate. Poik! I should change my vote. No, I'm just kidding. That is going to be first kill over to the side of Storm Esports. But, Grubby, any thoughts you have?
Ingen Gorge nu hoppas jag. There's been some Swedish friendly banter, actually friendly. Oh, the hook! Damn, dude! Yo, Stitch is getting some value. Alright, you guys can't see chat, just in case they say something naughty. But this time it wasn't naughty, so we can repeat it. It started with Poik asking, hey, don't go Gorge now, okay? Because he's Mephisto, right? And Gorge can disjoint your shade of Mephisto. So it makes it a lot more difficult for Mephisto to jump in, like you mentioned, Bahamut, and get some poke damage and out. Because, Gorge.
Yeah.
So he asked, don't go for Gorge. And then Lauber was like, alright, if you don't get the Globe talent, that gives you CDR at level 4. And then Poik pretended to agree, though, I think. Naughty ruffian that he is. He'll probably take it anyway.
Here's the thing, Poik's got to take his talent before Lauber, so I mean, this is well, we'll see what actually happens here. But I mean, that was what I had mentioned in the draft as well. Mephisto's so great here because the double soak. You got that level 4 Hysteria for cooldown reduction on your base abilities to be increased. I really feel like Mephisto is underplayed in CCL overall. But that's just my 2 cents on the topic. As we do have continued rotations. First objective, Grubby, will be in the top lane Mortar Punisher.
Okay, top lane Mortar Punisher.
He took it.
Yeah, he took it. All right, now Gorge is allowed then for Lauber. The compact has been broken. So what we can say about the top Punisher position is that it is the most friendly to melee soakers, melee skeletal defender killers. So you're happier to go there with a Kerrigan, Hager, a Dahaka, or a Blaze, and you're less happy to go there with a Kael'thas or a Raynor or something of the sort. because it's much too easy to get flanked and cut off as a range damage dealer, so you don't even want to commit to it at all. Now, Sylvanas Tychus, they do have some mobility. Junkrat, a little bit less, though he has the range. Mephisto can jump in. Overall, I would say it's actually a little better for Storm, as they have 3 melee. And they're ahead in XP, so this is like a 90% favorite chance for Storm to take this objective right here.
They've already got their Fallen Shaman pushed up into the wave. A hook goes out, and I think that was specific to the Fallen Shaman on the opponent's side, because Maka would be able to clear this out with CPX, and getting rid of that Shaman means the Hellhounds don't spawn or are not going to be proccing, so just Lobber utilizing the hook for faster clear into the lane. We do have the Blaze getting pressured by the Dahaka, and it was the Junkrat, but he's rotated up here halfway through the Skeletal Defenders to the side of Storm Esports and Rising, as they only need about 15 or so more to be able to summon this Mortar Punisher. As Grubby had mentioned, high priority going over to the side of Storm Esports, or high possibility for Storm Esports too. Oh, if that was a 13 hook, Azurite gets caught right there. Good cleanse coming out from the Rhaegar, and I was looking to see if June did go into the Purification for the cooldown reduction at level 7, but he didn't. We'll be going for the drag, can't connect. Poit goes in to try and poke, but he doesn't land much significant damage, as Storm Esports taps well and looks to re-engage.
Got the Lightning, Nova, Skull Missile slow here, coming in from Mephisto. For a large part, we saw 2 different builds. Either you get movement speed, either you get the slow. This one seems to be more and more meta among European Mephisto players, to get the 50% slow on Lightning Nova that crosses the Skull Missile. So that's really solid.
I really like the Frost Shade, or the Frost Storm, I think it is at level 7. Frost Storm, yeah.
Frost Storm.
And then you got I believe the speed one is Trickery, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, that Punisher, there's what you were talking about. That's what was being talked about in the draft with the Anubrak right there. He damages the Immortal. It targets onto Breeze. He goes for the Burrow, and then he has an Unstoppable, so he's not targeted, and he doesn't get collapsed on by Storm. But the collapse is still coming through. The Sylvanas is locking down the tower, and we've got a fort falling quite low. Tower shots are connecting just onto Punisher. Oh wait, Wubby is looking for something. CPX is so low, he dashes away. He's got 60-something HP. CPX knows he's out. But hey, a fort for CPX. I take that trade.
Remember what I said about the first Punisher when you have Sylvanas on the team? It gets the fort for sure, maybe to keep wall. That's the value that Storm is getting here from that first objective. Really, really incredible. And yeah, like you said, even CPX's death there doesn't dampen the joy for Storm.
No, they still have a solid level lead. Drag into bottom lane will connect on to Nasmus. If you're wondering why that seemed a little bit longer, it's because of that level 7 Feeding Frenzy. Not only do you get the 1.5 second cooldown, but you also get a 0.5 second increased drag duration. So your total drag time is 2.25 seconds. And here's a Storm, that's forever. Great burrow from Wubby to read the hook.
Tries to deal with that slow totem, hits it once, decides it's quite tanky, and never mind. Breeze coming in with the flank. Okay, level 10s are reached. Very important always, for Brightwing in particular. To get that blink heal makes her able to play a lot more aggressively with Cleanse and then still get out. The 5-man here by Storm. In comes Wubby. It's 4 versus 5. Brightwing is still in the center, clearing a Khazra camp.
She should have the phase shift available, just checking she does. Dahaka was just about to get his brush stock back, yet it's 1 second away. Seems like there actually might be a dive play into Wubby. No, he wasn't seen. I was looking at minimap and I could see him kind of floating up towards top, and wasn't sure if Storm was able to collapse onto him. But speaking of collapse, Storm, they're trying to do something, and bottom hook goes out. Azurite sidesteps it per se. Maka locks down the tower for a couple shots with the black arrows. It's not the longest cooldown. It's 33 seconds right now, but still a little bit of a cooldown to be burned regardless.
Yeah, you got 3 auto attacks on the forward. It's fine. I think it's almost never incorrect to use it for anything at all. 40 seconds. Yeah. Almost never incorrect. Exactly. Yeah. Because it comes back so soon, and anytime someone responds to you, you're busy running away for 10 and busy running back for 10. So it's really only like a 15-second cooldown the most.
Well, it's
not nothing.
It's an active cooldown like Flare or Mule. The moment you use it, it starts actually ticking down. So it may be 40 seconds, but if your activated time for 10, it's technically a 30-second cooldown, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's what I thought. I know there's interesting things that we all still learn about in this game.
Yeah, because Archon is not active like that.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
Odin.
But sometimes the UI does show it that way. I actually learned this because we were talking about this in week number 3, and I brought this up. Apparently, so there was the ragdolling physics is client side per. Who's in the game, whatever. Apparently, the polymorph for Brightwing is as well. So you could see a crab and I could see a squirrel. Did you know that?
Oh, that could be so confusing when you're like discussing team tactics, like take down the crab. He's like, I don't see any crab. I'm gonna hold my fire. I only see a squirrel.
That's why I brought that up, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I don't say like, oh, Maka got turned into a pig, because you might see a crab. So it might be bad casting on my end.
It will be so bad casting, dude.
Oh man, what are they gonna do with us?
Like, oh my god, he thinks a squirrel is a crab. Fire this guy.
That'll be the new big Reddit post for everyone to look at. Speaking of, you know what? We're actually about 13s apiece. Do you want to jump into Storm Esports for the subjective phase?
You know what? I know not many people will understand it, but let's do Granit for once at least.
In we go.
Ja,
Okay.
Såna här boys. Nu briljerar vi.
jag fick mycket skulls.
Jag kan nog ha den här busken ett tag.
Akta långkroken. Han är på... Vi ser honom.
Jag barbar lite här.
Jag vill hooka Stitches så jag kan. Han har odin.
Ja.
De leder rätt stort.
Ja, vi kommer behöva köra.
Högt ner.
Ja.
Please?
Ja, där. De kanske inte har sett sig på mig.
4 manna silence.
Kan vi köra blaze här uppe kanske? Eller jag...
Ja, jag hjälp.
Jag hjälper. Ja, du har hjälpt.
Jag webbade Sylv där uppe också. Sylv
Ja.
igång.
I got him.
I grenade Q.
Yeah, chase him.
Chase Evelson.
Breeze, can we kill Breeze?
Yeah,
Okay, yep.
Grenade 4, Grenade 2. Maybe?
I hook on him.
I can go.
I got him.
Okay, hitting building.
Finish.
Yes, we can get bottom as well after.
I
could
solo bottom. Maybe you start opening mid.
Okay. Sure, we can do that.
Open their legs.
What?
What?
Mid.
Oh, mid. Okay.
And if anyone didn't catch it, we did swap comms there if you didn't notice it going from Swedish to English, but since Storm Esports did want to hear a little bit from them, what they were kind of planning, what they were doing, and dang, Grubby, the momentum for Storm, look at them go here.
Yeah, really nice job by them. The Gorge on the Haka actually serving to eventually abduct someone else. Oftentimes it's like that. The Gorge target may survive. Yeah, Breeze, massive damage on him. There's Endurance coming in from Mephisto. It was only on Stitches, everyone spread. Let's see, Gorge is still available. When is the next hook available? He's got it available. Watch for the hook. Lobber, will he get another kill?
Maka's got little to no mana right here, can only do auto attacks as the mid lane Punisher will take the keep down to about 50%. We did see that there was a rotation from Blaze for just a little bit to push up that bottom lane just to open things up a little bit further. But this is the Commandeer Odin with 16 talent to your advantage, a 2-level lead to Storm Esports. They are making Junkrat look like a overly banned heroes. The isolation from Wubby doesn't connect. The Gorge will be there from the Stitches. The disengage is going to be coming out. Nasmus with the Jet Propulsion just to slow down Breeze from stepping out. The Haunting Wave from Sylvanas will be utilized as Cocoon onto June, as that's going to be shredded through by CPX. The fight continues through mid. Jet Propulsion from Blaze. There's the Durance of Hate, sidestepped by Storm Esports, and it's Granit Gaming who have burned a lot of resources. The members of Storm still have Wailing. They still have the Ancestor Healing as well, and they can slowly but surely whittle down this keep.
Hook was available, but not for the first time. Breeze uses Impale to stop the hook from actually going, and it actually puts it on full cooldown. There's something obvious about Stitches running little mini circles on the spot that says, I got a hook and I'm ready to use it, so Breeze is counterplaying that quite well. Nonetheless, we're looking at 6 forts standing full HP.
Wow.
For, yeah.
I mean,
it's not good here for Storm, and they're killing so many buildings.
Oh no, Wubby might have gone a little too far. No, okay. I was wondering if Wubby was a little too gapped from his own team. Something that I've been practicing in my own games not to do. If I tank, I try not to go too deep away from my allies. I tend to do that because I'm just like, we can dive in, we can murder them. I have that Lobra mentality, but just not the skill set.
Yeah, a few people do, and many people have that mentality. I'm going in, and I expect my team to follow me. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's literally every tank, right?
Yeah, and then when you die, you just look at your Twitch chat and go, "Oh, I misread the minimap. I thought my team was right behind me. That's my bad." Just assumed they were there. Yeah.
I
Oops.
thought the minimap was bottom left. Like,
Oh,
my bad.
I flipped it upside down and around as well. But 16s, the big thing to talk about here, Grubby, now, is that 16s are here for the side of Granite Gaming. Can they start to make the comeback? Can they start to climb back up against Storm Esports? Can they weather the storm?
So I think this is the really big talent here. Massive damage output for Granite. Now Skull Missile explodes anytime it comes in contact with Lightning Nova. And there's a cool little trick where you can do a Skull Missile forward, and then you go 30-degree off angle in that forward direction, and that's where you teleport towards in order to make the circular part of your Lightning Nova intersect with the travel path of the Skull Missile. So rather than detonating once upon leaving the circle, it will detonate multiple times as it goes in and out of the edge of the circle.
Ooh.
And in this way, you can get a multiple explosion of something that's supposed to do only 259 damage, but now you're doing 2, 3, 4 times that damage as it explodes multiple times. Let's see if Poik utilizes this combo well. We're looking at Poik's position right now. Hook is out. As long as he stays out of Stitch's range, there we go. So he just did the single explosion, you see? And the question is, does he even know that trick, and does he use it?
Turns of Fate goes out, sidestepped by June. Breeze a little bit low. Phase shift will be connecting onto Wubby at the top of the objective. We do have that peekaboo for some extra vision. Here comes the Commandeer Odin from CPX. No big red button, no level 20, but Wubby is getting shredded by Maka on the Sylvanas. Has to back away. Skeletal defenders are pretty close, but when we look at the minimap, the big thing to discuss here is the waves being pushed in. Maka looks for a flank. Lobber comes in as well. The hook connects onto Breeze. The cocoon will go out. Wailing arrow from Sylvanas. Poik is low. Poik trying to back away, goes down to the grenade from Tychus. Breeze trying now to get out of here. Is body blocked by Nasmus, and there's another kill. This time it's going to be coming out from Maka. A third kill from Maka. A fourth kill from CPX, and there's the chase onto Wubby. There's a Youch, Channeling Claws buys a window, but they don't care. Storm Esports, they don't care. They're going lethal. Justin talked about this in the last game of, did they miss a moment to go lethal? I realistically don't think they need this keep. I don't know why they're realistically taking it. They can just run past this and go core. They got a wave in mid. Maybe I'm being overly critical. I don't know, but at this point, if I was in Storm League, I would just be pinging the core like, go core, what are you doing? You're giving them death timers, but it doesn't matter. In the end, it is going to be Storm Esports who make Junkrat look absolutely worthless by comparison of how many drafts we've seen of him being banned out. Either way, GG to Storm Esports.
What's the big dealio with Junkrat, right? Just
why even ban?
I mean, I think the Stitches pick was very smart because without Stitches pick, you're constantly looking to walk and use skill shot into bushes and to carve out an area and to charge into the opponent with burrow charge, power slide, shadow charge, and you're constantly stopped by traps. Stitches was the answer. It was the answer to Mephisto, Gorge Threat. It was the answer to Junkrat, staying back as a tank. I love it. It was very well played. Not everyone can play Stitches. This team clearly could, and Lauber could.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more Stitches this season, Justin, and I want to get your thoughts. How do you feel about the Stitches kind of being a little more popularized this season by comparison?
Stitches is definitely strong in situations, and we saw that they actually used it as their last pick, as their flex pick. They saved that for Lauber just to be able to get that pick and not have any counters against it. So it's good that they were able to get value out of it, because had they not, then it would have been a really greedy thing to do, to save that for the tank pick. So just good on Lauber to be able to pull it off and to be able to make it look strong. It was really good to be able to dodge the Junkrat stuff. We noticed that he really didn't get a lot of value out of the traps. And Granit just playing a little bit too slow as well into the Stitches. Stitches, his main weakness is getting hard engaged on. You kind of want to wait around and just look for hooks and look for picks. And the counter to that playstyle is basically to just force super aggressive plays into the Stitches as much as possible and just hard engage onto him. And they have the Anubarak, but that's the only real thing that they have to start a fight. They don't have anything else that can really get a fight going. There's a Haka with Tongue, but on the Shrine that's pretty difficult. And it just really didn't feel like Granite Gaming was kind of coordinated enough with their engages to punish the Stitches playstyle. Lauber getting to basically just play for hooks and wait for hooks, and he was hitting good hooks, but if as soon as a hook is down, there should be a long window, like a almost 16-second window where you're just not able to really fight as Storm, but that wasn't really the case. Lauber was hitting almost every hook, so he didn't really have a lot of downtime, but Granit also not able to really capitalize on it. And the last fight was very strange. They kind of forced themselves into the shrine as Granit, and they still just wait to engage. We see Breeze burrowing away here. You really just have to commit at this point, even though they have more of a poke composition between the Mephisto and the Junkrat. You really need to engage against the Stitches. So I think the last pick Stitches really paying off for them. Lauber playing it extremely well. Everyone on the side of Storm just playing really well, like a big, well-oiled machine for them. And Granit looking a little bit shaky here in games 2 and 3. Looking a lot weaker in comparison to Storm from game 1.
I personally, I was a little on the fence. I mean, I voted for Granit Gaming, and I thought, oh, yeah, this is going to be easily a a Granit Gaming win with that Junkrat. But to be honest, Lauber was kind of the MVP. It's like a toss between Lauber and Maka. Like, Maka's damage was just on point. I mean, there's so many moments you look at a full health Dahaka, and he's at a 3rd HP bar. It's absolutely crazy what Maka can do on the Sylvanas, as well as CPX on that Tychus. But of course, we're gearing up for map number 4. So let's find out where we're going to be going to, and let's see what it's going to be. Oh, Grubby, my favorite map to potentially, or even end a series on. It's going to be Towers of Doom. We're going to be seeing the Gravekeeper up against the Raven Lord. How you feeling about this one? You excited? Do you think Granit can run it back, or you think Storm might just close this out?
Towers of Doom is one of the most unique maps. I'm very excited to see this as a potential match point. Besides the old Hanamura, Towers of Doom is the only map where you can't go directly for the enemy core. You can't attack it and attack it with mere mortal weapons. One must channel an altar to throw cannonballs, or take the boss, or push sappers over the wall, or finally take all 6 bunkers, all 6 forts, control them simultaneously, and it will start a cavalcade of cannonades towards the opponent's core. These are the 4 ways you can get victory points against your opponent's 40 HP core. And because channeling the objective is just points on the score sheet, it doesn't give you any XP, it doesn't get you any closer to winning. It's only the final point that matters in the end. On every other map, getting the objective also gives you experience points or push power. And here, because all we're doing is keeping tally, keeping score, kind of like a game of table tennis. Just because you're down 2-15 or 2-9 or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're actually being snowballed. There's no difference of 1 point to the next. That's why Towers of Doom is uniquely suited to comebacks. Let's see if that's going to happen this time.
This is the map where it could be 4-24, and then 5 to 10 minutes later, it's 4-4, and everyone's scrapping over a boss and that or a single altar face. So I love this map. In my opinion, it's my favorite to cast competitively. It's one of my favorite to play competitively. So we'll see what happens here. Now, Justin, if you were on the side of Storm Esports and you just beat the Junkrat, do you consider banning it at all? Like, do you feel threatened by it? Because I personally don't think Storm was threatened by that whatsoever, it seemed.
It definitely didn't seem like they were very threatened by it. I think if they have the option to go into the Stitches again, they probably don't care too much about the Junkrat.
Okay.
The Stitches really did seem quite strong against it, and Towers of Doom is one of Stitch's best maps. There's so many close rotations where there's always a wall between you and kind of just darkness on this map. Pretty much no matter where you are, there's just a spot the Stitches can be looking for hooks, so wouldn't be surprised to see Granit. Granit might not even pick the Junkrat first pick. They didn't look super comfortable with it. They do pick it.
Okay.
The one kind of complaint with their draft, though, in general, is that Junkrat and Mephisto sort of do kind of the same type of damage. Both of them do sort of just spread, slow, magic-based damage. It's not really single target, focus the tank type damage. You don't typically want to have both of them on the same team. So while they did have a bunch of CC to go with it, they didn't have anyone who can just kill tanks, which I think really hurt them in that last game we saw, especially with the Stitches. We'll see if he looks to go for it on Lauber early, but he does not. If Granit were to take Stitches themselves on this map, it would be quite strong, but there is already a unstoppable on Sylvanas and someone who can help people who get hooked on a Brightwing.
Yeah, there is... You could go hook into Steel Trap with Junkrat Stitches on the side of Granit Gaming, which we did see. I believe that was Cattle running that in like week number 1, if I'm not mistaken. But now that we've got this next round of picks, I want to see these before I throw it over to Grubby. And then, wow, that's some heavy hitters coming out for Granit Gaming.
Yeah, it's interesting. Stukov does have this one unique weakness where he has no cleanse. All the other meta supports have cleanse, and that makes him a little bit weaker against certain setups that really just usually try to blow up the tank.
I'm actually.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I wonder if we're just gonna be getting into a round of tank bans again. Like, if it's just gonna be, no. I wonder why the Tychus. Are we gonna get Shogal? Grubby, do you feel it?
Well,
I feel it. Brightwing Sylvanas, I can feel it.
Not right now. I do think like something like Stitch's Tychus, Variant Tychus, together with Stukov could have been very, very threatening. And maybe that's why they removed the Tychus. It could also be that they're looking to run Stitches themselves against Storm, and therefore remove Tychus. Though I think Stitches can play well into Tychus, but Tychus would solve the issue that you just described for Granit Gaming, where that you guys just described, where it's too much magical damage between Junkrat and Mephisto. Tychus will be like, okay, he's the tank killer, Junkrat is the mayhem creator.
Well, my hopes and dreams will be crushed in just a few seconds here, so of course, Justin, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think Grubby kind of explained it perfectly with the Tychus. The Diablo and the Stitches both have really high HP pools, and both of those are going to be really threatened by Tychus, and Tychus combos a lot better as that single target DPS with the Junkrat CC being able to shred down a frontliner. We do see the Murden picked up, so no Stitches picked up for Lauber. This is a little bit more standard to see your last pick saved for your flex. This means that CPX is going to be looking to get something to carry with, potentially even a Genji last pick for Storm. But we'll see what Granit looks to go with, knowing that that's possible. This also kind of dissuades wanting to go into a Stitches for Granit. It's a very... If they would go with the Stitches, it would be a little bit awkward. You have tons of mobility with the Haka, Murd, and Brightwing all being able to blink, Sylvanas even having mobility. Well, the Haka can't blink, but he can go underground. He's pretty untargetable and unfocusable in that sense. Li Ming comes out as their last pick with the Varian. Very strange. It kind of feels a little bit similar to last game with a similar problem where you don't have that single target tank focus hero at all with Li Ming. And Chromie for CPX. That's their flex pick. No Genji. Nothing... Not wanting to pick Genji, dive into the backline and get taunted by Varian. That makes sense. Also not wanting to dive into a potential puddle with Blaze with the bunker as well. So very standard. Chromie kind of forcing with this play, going to be mostly forcing a front to back play style from Granit, and Granit kind of playing into that without having that ability to kill tanks with the Li Ming makes things a little bit weird for them. You have good follow up on a taunt if it's onto a squishy member, but you're probably never going to get that taunt onto a squishy member against Chromie and Sylvanas. Storm's comp looks quite a bit better to me. They do somewhat suffer from the same problem of not having like a super solid tank killer, but Sylvanas kind of does everything, so they shouldn't have quite the same problem. I'm expecting Storm to take this fairly easily, unless a lot of picks happen in the early game due to the taunt and the Stukov puddle. If they're able to kind of pop off with Poik, or whoever's playing the Li Ming, yeah, it is Poik. Poik back in the day, one of, if not the best Li Mings in the world, so if he can pop off early and they can get ahead, Granit Gaming can take it, but they have to snowball the game early if they want to be able to actually one-shot into the mid to late game.
Alrighty, well thank you, Justin, as always, and let's introduce these teams for what could be the final map between them today. Granit Gaming on the left-hand side, Smexy on the Stukov will be on the Blaze, Breeze on the Varian, Poik on the Li Ming, and Azerite on the Junkrat. On the side of Storm, Esports looking to make this a 3-1 victory and find their first victory in HeroesCCL Season 4. We got Lauber on the Muradin, Nasmus on the Dahaka, Mach on the Sylvanas, CPX on the Chromie, and June to play the Brightwing. Grubby, I'm leaning into Storm Esports. I feel like CPX really showcased the Chromie extremely well earlier. I wasn't super impressed with the Junkrat from last game. Breeze could make some big plays here, but let's start out with the drag. Nice utilization of the lurking arm from Stukov to dissuade Storm Esports. But of course, Grubby, any thoughts on the drafts or what could unfold here on Towers of Doom?
Yeah, I think with Variant Stukov, you kind of have decent single target damage. You do kind of miss the absence of that ranged auto attacker that can kill tanks. But the thing is, what I feel like right now in Heroes of the Storm in the meta, there aren't that many good auto attackers. Most of them are mage hybrids. So Junkrat is kind of an auto attacker, but he's mostly mage damage, like spell damage. Then who are good auto attackers after Tychus is gone? Are you gonna go Raynor? Is he gonna do a similar job? No. He's got far less damage, far less burst, right? And he's not even safer than Tychus, which is the weird thing. You would think that's his specialty with his kit. Then, like, are you gonna go Zul'jin? Very risky damage dealer. Sylvanas is the usual one with that level 1 percentage damage, if that's what she picks. He decided not to go for it. But there really aren't that many good picks, so I don't mind leaning too much with Varian Stukov. Oh, Junkrat!
Azurite got hit with a Stormbolt and then a drag out of the burrow. First blood goes over to the side of Storm Esports as Smexy. Bud, you're on an island all by yourself, and the Fire Festival isn't really that great, and he will be falling as well. Until, well, he's gonna take a while. Okay, there you go. I was gonna say, like, the longer this goes, this actually isn't good for Smexy. He wants to die and get that respawn sooner than later, because in about a minute we're gonna be having our first objective. So getting back into the lane, getting back into the team is quite critical. Also, Grubby, being critical of things, I don't know if Granite Gaming should have gone for that invade under the camp, because, I mean, Breeze, he's not a real boy until level 4, which he just got.
He's not a real boy! Yeah, that's true. That's the problem. And, you know, it's so funny. I had a Varian in my Storm League game recently. He's like, chill out before level 4, okay?
Yes,
It was on
yes.
Towers of Doom. And I'm like, okay, I know. It's, you know, I always love good habits being repeated. I'm never that guy that's like, I know. There's always someone that's like, I know. It's like, yeah, good habit repetition is a good thing. And I'm like, okay, let's chill out. What does he do? Level 2 invade on enemy sample camp. And we all die. And I'm like, I thought you said. And that's kind of what's happening here. Varian invade. Now, it was cool because it bought time for the sapper camp, but it still committed them to death. And you don't have taunt yet. You don't get the 40% health and regen. You don't have that taunt. So yeah, I think they should have just not done that. What do you think about that?
I'm right there with you. Just play it safe, play it slow, wait for that 4 to come in, and then start making those critical kills happen. Because early game experience, while it is not a ton, it still is experience to the enemy side, as Breeze is taking not as much damage as Lobber from the far side of this engagement point with these Li Ming arcane orbs. I'm just looking around right now. We do have the Blaze just now getting the channel on the left-hand side. We've already got the Sylvanas on the in the mid lane. Nasmus, I believe, burrowed into bottom to help out. Yes, he does have the 65 seconds on that cooldown, and June gets the channel. 8 shots rain into the core of Granite Gaming on the Ravenlord side, but the Gravekeeper only taking 4 damage from the opposing side of the battleground, as I'm just skimming through 7s, pretty standard across the board.
June here, one of the first games where he's not Rhaegar in this series. Oh, hold that thought. Mokka and Nas trying to get Wubby.
They should? No
Oh my
way.
god, 18 health. Come on, dude.
I thought
Who
that
missed
one
an
auto.
auto?
I swear that last auto was going to be enough, but you know what? Let's blame Nasmus. He's not here to defend himself. The Sylvanas will lock down the top lane for it, and Nasmus will kind of anchor for the team eating the steel trap.
That last auto would have been enough if he had a different level 1, but then maybe he wouldn't have been as low, so go figure. Still pretty cool. Let's talk overall about the macro plan.
Please.
Storm has actually been running loads of Sylvanas top and mid, while the Haka has bot. It's quite interesting.
I've noticed that too,
I guess they figured the Haka has more control against Varian. Now you have 2 frontliners, so that taunting any one of them is met with a lot more counter resistance. And Sylvanas can't really attack anyone except Varian. And he has parry, so he's not easily killed. So they said, okay, let's have Sylvanas on the off lane. Really interesting. Now, Varian being brutally brutalized.
I love this from the side of Storm. Sorry for Granite Gaming. Just that's a rough go.
Tunked him into a slowing stance.
Yeah,
Good luck.
like he got storm bolted, slowing stance popped up. I see the autos from Nasmus. He's got the cooldown reduction by 1.5 seconds, has the duration increased by 0.5 seconds. So that slowing sands, like, just dragging Varian and just keeping him in place, still getting those autos from the Dahaka. Really, really well played from Storm Esports. They find themselves with 3 kills over the side of Granite Gaming and a solid level lead, pushing Storm Esports into their 10 talents. And we will have that pretty standard talents across the board. Wubby does get the conversion on the top lane bell tower, but with him up there, Storm Esports, they want to fight in bottom.
It's gonna have to be really impressive to get the kill here on anyone, when the only frontline available is Muradin, and June has that really nifty, useful build where he's got much more frequent cleanses from that Magic Spit level 4, and when he cleanses someone, they get an extra 244 healing, as well as even more, like 550 healing if they are CC'd, which of course they're going to be. They're going to be in a Stukov battle.
So it's just going to be a big burst of healing coming out from June. On top of that, he will be having that phase shift. He also has the percent base at level 1 with the hyper shift, 6 extra percent on that heal. So June should be comfortable in this game, but we'll have to see what happens here, because here comes a phase shift onto the top area. Gwubby does steal away the camp. Isolation will connect onto the Junkrat, and he is taken down by the Dahaka. Now Gwubby will pop the bunker. Here comes Varian looking for a taunt, pops the protection, and June is going to be traded, eaten alive a lot quicker than I thought that he was actually going to be bursted down. Meanwhile, Chromie in the bottom lane still split soaking. That's a burrow under the ground from Dahaka. He doesn't have Lurker Strain from level 4, so no knockback. A double kill to the side of Granite Gaming. The Sappers go in, and here comes an objective phase. Now, looking really quickly, Dahaka has Brushstock, phase shift for Brightwing. Will be up just a little bit after she respawns, so this shouldn't be a contested objective phase, should be a traded objective phase.
Kind of excited to see Poix Li Ming coming back again. He had this one legendary clip from way back in the days where he was able to do a mirrorable quintuple magic missile into Arcane Orb to the side of someone, and then he used the level 20 Wave of Force repulsion to push them right into it, perfect point blank. And we're seeing some pretty cool flashy plays here so far, leading to the first 2 kills for Granite Gaming. Let's see if he can get some nice damage here on Dahaka. That's a full hit. Where's the Wave of Force? Push them back into the puddle. Yep. Nice kill there on Brightwing on June.
June tried to save Nasmus, and I'm not sure if Nasmus really needed to be saved, but June will stagger out of death right there. More experience over to the side of Granite Gaming, who have found equalization or parity in this map number 4 on Towers of Doom. Now Breeze looking for the flank onto Lauber, does pop that, oh my god, great repulsion, or great wave of force, excuse me, from Poik right there, and Lauber, he's just gonna tap well. He's gonna try and make something happen here. Pops the Avatar. Phase shift from Brightwing comes through. Riptire finds value. Breeze too far forward, gets popped by the structure as the bottom lane fort will go down, but Gwubby, did he sacrifice himself for this bell tower conversion? Meanwhile, in the top left of your minimap, Dahaka is getting a bell tower of his own. So this is moot. This is actually great for the side of Storm Esports.
Well, yeah, it was really great.
Like, structure,
initially, it looked good for Granite Gaming, but the thing is, I think the key move here was June polymorphing Breeze. When you're polymorphed, just like you can't enter a Medivh portal as a critter, you can't get into bunker either. And you saw Breeze trying for about a second or two. I think Wubby's bunker was really good. But when he couldn't get in, he gave up, and that's what got him killed in the end.
And with the double kill that the Granite Gaming members found, they will be able to get 80% of the fort through bottom lane. June did get chunked, but I think he got healed back up. Actually, it was CPX that got chunked, sorry. Misread the name bar right there. And I like what June was doing right there. It's a very common thing, but if anyone didn't notice, or if you're ever playing on Towers of Doom, you don't need to kill the minion wave. You can just let it come into that death zone and then just grab the experience from that. And that's what June was doing there. It kind of speeds things up a little bit so that way you can clear that wave, let your wave get into the lane, and then try and reconvert the bell tower. But that's okay. Look at this trade. Look at this trade. Boss for bell tower and potential sappers in through top lane. It's 4 for 4.
Yeah, that's interesting. It seems like the wrong decision by Storm, but
I agree.
It's more like because they don't have bot forward, they really don't like the way that they would have to maneuver to make this work.
Wait, that was 7 damage. 3 sappers went over the wall through top lane, and they got a kill. This was... We look at this, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but dang, Storm Esports just made the perfect play.
They got 7 damage?
They got 4 from the boss, and 3 sappers went through top lane. Then they killed Gwubby, who was trying to reconvert and keep those sappers from going over the wall. Unless I was, did I misread it? Was I reading the boss shots?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm trying
to look at like
I might have missed it. Yeah, I might have misread it. But let's continue casting the game and see what actually happens and unfolds here, because bottom lane does go back over to Storm.
So Storm now has more forts, they have more levels, they have more shots. They're in a solid lead.
Okay, so more sappers through bottom lane. Blaze to go into top lane to try and reconvert that back over to the side of Granite Gaming. He is showing in lane, but Murden dwarf tosses over the wall. That's going to be a target onto Azerite, who's polymorphed. And he will get hit with the isolation as well. Lauber has to pop Avatar to back away.
Solid counter attack here, though, by Granite Gaming. That Stukov battle was pretty key. Saw the quick Avatar, the drag tongue panic. It was a really cool engage, though, by Lauber. I love that. The jump over the wall, the Stormbolt. Once again, Granite Gaming gonna try to take down top fort. Top 4 is always an interesting one. Usually a consolation prize. Storm instead is leveraging it as an extra weapon of control, forcing more top orientation for Wubby, which prevents Wubby from doing 5v4s.
Wait, Wubby on the top left, yeah, he's getting pushed away. I did look back at the live stream. It was just the boss shot, so my apologies for Twitch chat. I know you're all rioting right now. But either way, Lobber Dwarf tosses over the wall once again. Breeze is the target, pops the protect, but he's stuck inside the slowing sand, and he's so slow. That's Sylvanas popping the Will of Forsaken. She goes back in with the Wailing Arrow. The isolation from Dahaka will be utilized. I don't think it connected onto anyone. Bunker down from Wubby. He's slowed from the heavy impact. Oh no, he actually doesn't even have heavy impact. He's just landing on top of heads and just getting kill after kill. We could see 5 more shots into the core of Granite Gaming. So Granite Gaming taking 10 damage in total. For anyone wondering, boss up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
That was really nicely played once again. What a sick combo, Dahaka and Chromie slowing Sans with the drag tongue. And a pretty sick move by Mokka, running through everyone with Will of the Forsaken and
cool.
finishing off Varian with that wailing. Yeah, that was super cool.
I honestly, like, usually usually they throw that haunting wave as kind of like a juke, like, ooh, will I trigger it? And I with such low HP, I can't believe they made that happen. But it's Mokka on Sylvanas, and he is a strong Sylvanas player. As a Sapper Camp on the left-hand side is up and available, we are going to have the center teleportation opening up, the Waygate, which also means that all the forts will transfer to keep damage, health, and experience.
Alright, they're 4 HP up a little bit, now 20k HP, up from whatever it was, I guess. Very close to level 20. Storm Esports.
Next altar phase, by the way, wins for Granite.
Yeah.
Excuse me, wins for Storm Esports if they get both, of course, and they still hold the extra bell tower. That's the other factor in all of this. And bottom lane's getting poiked down. See what I did there? You get it?
Yeah, I see what you did. Very nice. I like it.
I could sit and explain the joke if you'd like, because I know that makes
Yeah,
comedy
I would
so
like
much more.
that.
So the players, I'm just kidding, because we have the bell tower phase coming up here, and it will be the bottom lane bell tower converted. But look at Murd and Dahaka in top lane.
Yeah.
They want to get that conversion in top. They want to end the game. They want to end the series right here, right now, in this objective phase.
Yeah, really solid play. Like, this could be the game-winning play. I figured they might do that because they've been doing that all game. Look at this, Mokka going for mid fort as well. Granite, they're trying to take bottom fort to bring it back down to 4 per shot. Actually would have loved to see Mokka and Lauber keep going for that fort, but time is up, I suppose, and their own fort is alive. They're going for Junkrat again. Junkrat, just, oh my god, that's a 2-man double kill.
The rewind from Lauber. Lauber is showcasing his Muradin right now. He is landing Stormbolt after Stormbolt. Wubby's trying to back away. He should go down to Sylvanas, and on the bottom of our map, CPX is going to be having a little 1v1 with Breeze, but Mokka, June, they don't respect the 1v1. Or do they? No, they do. No, well, I guess Mokka does. Mokka's respecting it. Everyone, no, they're all respecting the 1v1. Breeze isn't even gonna try and stop the channel. I love this. That's the way to end a game. That's the end of the series. GG to the side of Storm Esports.
Very well played here by Storm. You know, it's pretty interesting because Lauber spearheading this team. Lauber used to be kind of like a rookie/recruit in the times that Breeze, Wubby, and SMX were pro players. Lauber was the challenger on the door, waiting with bated breath for him to take a position among the top. He was always in that open division, trying to break into the HCC top 8. Maybe he was top 8 tank in Europe, maybe not, but he wasn't on a top 8 team at that moment. It was hard for him to get in. Now, he takes his revenge. And he has been tanking for a long time. He's been competing in the recent years. And the other guys from Granite, some of them returning from a long hiatus, now Lauber is the king of the hill.
And he is the king of Muradin, because this is some of the best Muradin we've seen, in my opinion, from him. But of course, Justing, I'm sure you've seen a lot more beyond just the CPX Breeze 1v1 at the end right there.
Yeah, Lauber definitely, as Grubby had mentioned, is kind of the supreme tank here right now in this series versus Breeze. There is a long history for both of these players, and today, where we are now, Lauber coming out on top for sure. Especially at the end there, just that last game really closing it out strong for Lauber. Storm was just kind of ahead of everything that Granite was doing in this game. There were very few moments where Granite was able to get a real advantage in this game, and it really just felt like after game 1 the series was just all Storm the whole way. It was nice to hear in the comms too that at the beginning of the series that Lauber picking up a lot more shot calling responsibility and being a lot more vocal in the draft. It's good to see that he's a player that definitely knows what's going on and has a way that he wants to play the game. And it's kind of hard to get your team to be on the same page if you're not being that really commanding voice in comms. So it was good to hear that from Lauber. Really impressive to see him kind of taking control of the team and to see their improvement from 2 weeks ago in their last match to now. Seems like Storm is really scaling up as a team, and it's nice to see them get their first actual match win after having so many close series. The last play here was so sick with Lauber coming in on the flank with the Stormbolt, with Maka having the Silence Arrow to combo on top of it. The fight kind of ended before it even started for Granite Gaming, and they're able to get that based off of a really nice macro setup for them, being able to get that top fort and leave them in a position where both these shots would end the game if Granite didn't take bot back. So they were a little bit greedy trying to get bot back, and it's nice to see Storm not only winning the fights but also setting up the map in a way so that they're, well, you mentioned that you don't get kind of the same kind of snowball on this map from having your advantages that you gain. They kind of set up the map in a way that they got a fight advantage in a different way from having that positioning advantage. So that was cool to see from Storm. And Storm just looking a lot better today. And Granite once again getting a single win, but Storm looking very strong today.
Storm is looking very strong. They pick up their first victory in our Season 4 of HeroesCCL, and later on today we can see where that actually pushes them into the standings because of map score record. If I'm not mistaken, at this time we are going to be having an interview with one of the Storm players, and we'll be able to ask them... oh no, we're still setting up, sorry, my apologies. So we will get a Storm Esport player in here in just a little bit so we can ask them about their first victory as well as how things are going to be looking for them next week. And I'm actually going to peek and look really quickly. Who does Storm go up against next? Ooh, Storm goes up against Oxygen next Sunday. So that'll be a really fun matchup that we can ask June about in just a couple seconds here once we get him into the interview. But I honestly, a really great series from both sides. Very much enjoyed how Granite Gaming did play this. I think map number 1, Curse Hollow, was extremely well done by Granite Gaming. But of course, Storm Esports, they really tightened up in maps 2, 3, and especially number 4. But of course, we can actually ask June at this time a couple questions here now that we have him ready to go in our interview. Congratulations on your victory. How you feeling?
Hello. Pretty good. It's definitely better than losing, for sure.
Oh, puppy. All right. Well, at least I'm sure the puppies are happy that you won the game. It looks like. But I'm gonna start out really quickly and ask this question. Why so much Rhaegar? Is it a comfort pick? Do you feel like he's like the best healer out there?
I think I actually don't really like Rhaegar too much, but I do think Rhaegar is good healer. He has very clear. He has cleanse, baseline cleanse. He has a sustain after 13. He has a burst heal with R. I think totem build is really strong, especially in team fight after 16. So it's overall really balanced hero, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we've just been seeing a lot from you, so I thought, we got you here. Why not ask? But of course, Justin, any questions for June?
Yeah, similar question. We talked about it at the start of the broadcast that Lucio priority has been super high this season compared to last season. I guess if you could just say why you think it is that Lucio's almost permanently banned in Season 4.
I think Lucio is very high priority because fact that he basically doesn't have mount, doesn't need to mount, and he can basically just screw up. I mean, is that word? Okay, basically like mess up all the rotation control. Yeah, I think whichever team has a Lucio has super priority on rotations, and right now whichever team has a rotational control can do so much more things on the map. And I mean, I feel like people are starting to know how to play against Lucio, but I guess at the moment it's still very annoying. It's like a mosquito kind of thing. So
that's actually perfectly put because
yeah.
that's what actually Justin was saying at the start of broadcast. He's like a mosquito. He's so hard to get rid of. Yeah, no, so perfectly put, June. Actually, Grubby, any questions for June?
Yeah, June, you guys adapted your draft strategy as few teams did and allowed Junkrat to come through twice. Do you have a special little secret besides what we could see how you guys punished him, where that was suddenly okay with you?
I think Junkrat was almost banned every single game, so far, like literally almost every game, and
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe people kind of forgot how to play with Junkrat. I don't know. We're just
okay.
kind of testing, but yeah.
Well, in the end, you come out as a victor in this series. You pick up your first victory in the Season 4 of HeroesCCL. Before we get to shoutouts, next weekend on June 12th, you'll be going up against Oxygen. Any thoughts, concerns, excitement to go up against that team?
I think they're definitely a good team. They have good players. They're very experienced 5 players. And even though we won today, I think there's many different things that we need to work on, because obviously every team's goal is to make it to the land. So it's going to be difficult. I think we still need to step up and improve a lot more to have a great game against them.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for the interview. Are there any shouts that you'd like to give before I let you get out of here and start scrimming and celebrating?
Shout out to the org. Shout out to my dog, and shout out to Stoic. He's our manager. He's been helping us a lot. Shout out to everyone in our team. Like I think Lauber played super well today. He was very vocal. Maka, he made good plays. Nesmes, CPX, CPOGX, and yeah. And thanks to you guys for running on this and the chat. Thank you guys.
Well, it's our pleasure as always. June, congratulations once again on your 3-1 victory up against Granite Gaming. And as I mentioned, we'll see you next Sunday up against Oxygen. Good luck in your scrims, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you. See you guys.
It kind of seemed at the end, Grubby, like June's dog wanted to give a shout out as well, but he was like trying to get maybe the dog had some really mean opinions, like Phoenix is a good hero or something like that. But either way, it was a very, very fun series. Before we start transitioning into our next best of 5 of the day, or even go into a break, I do want to get both of your thoughts from that series. Any kind of takeaways? And I want to start with Justin, if you have any takeaways from this Granite Gaming versus Storm Esports matchup.
I think the main thing is that Storm is looking quite a bit stronger, and Lauber seemed like he had a lot more leadership in this series. We heard in the comms that is a big deal for them. I think being able to kind of have someone to rally around, to be on the same page with, especially someone who has such a definitive playstyle as Lauber does, and it's good to see them kind of play to that strength, especially leaving on the Infernal Shrines game, leaving the last pick up to him, which is something you don't normally do. Leave that for your tank. Kind of just shows how much priority they're willing to give him to enable him. So it's good to see the Lauber diff come into effect in this series.
I definitely agree. I think Lauber had such a strong showing today, and even June was pointing it out as well. His leadership definitely shining today, and maybe Lauber has found his voice in the season, and he can rally the troops and take them into a few more victories to maybe boost themselves up in that league standings for the ladder bracket. But of course, Grubby, any takeaways from the series?
Well, we've spoken about Storm, we've interviewed them. I'm looking also at Granite.
Sure.
They have this interesting emerging pattern where in all 3 series that they played and lost so far, they won the first map. So one has to wonder, is there a kind of over preparation for first map? Do they relax too much after the first map loss? Or do they just have a weaker, ergo the losses, but surprising style to opponents that causes opponents to need to adjust after the first map? It's kind of hard to really understand exactly why it happened. It could have been a coincidence as well, but they're not unable to win games. This is different from some of the Season 1 Chili Mountain, where it was difficult to get map wins. Granite is doing it now and then, just not consistently enough. And they are a little rough around the edges with some of the heroes, with some of the synergies. I still think they can scale up, but I'm not sure they'll make your analysis come true anymore, that I believed in as well, Justin, or they might be top team. It's getting far away, but definitely I think they still have potential to come and regenerate into the rest of the season and come back stronger.
And I think Grubby, I think that's the big storyline between both of these teams. Storm Esports definitely showcasing that they're starting to climb up in the rankings, but of course, Granite Gaming, they are looking better and better and better every single week. And I think this was obviously, they had a couple weeks off and they looked really, really good today. I'm excited to see what Granite can do next week. And for anyone wondering, we did talk about that Oxygen versus Storm. Granite will go up against Simplicity next weekend on Saturday, but we still have more matches this weekend. We still have another match coming up in a little bit. But of course, before we even go to a break, I want to talk to you all about our amazing friends over at Ball Street. Because did you know that it's up to you to get the best pick for the winning team live as you're watching on cclmarkets.com? It's free. If you pick wrong, you can sell your shares and buy the other team before the match is over. CCL Markets trade from 0 to 100 with shares of the winning team valuing at 100 and shares of the losing team expiring at 0. There's tons of prizes this season, so join and play during every HeroesCCL broadcast. Make sure you are getting those gambles in. Thank you again, Ball Street, for partnering with HeroesCCL Season 4. And I have to say, it's really, really cool. I've heard some great feedback from some of the viewers, and I do want to ask them a little bit more about it in the upcoming week and kind of get some feedback and see what everyone's saying about Ball Street and cclmarkets.com. But as you saw at the bottom of our screen, we're ticking on over. We're swapping over. We're getting ready for Diamond Hands to go up against Wildheart Esports. And before we get into our lovely Kyle interview, I do have some stats. Diamond Hands sitting 3-0 with a 9-3 record. That is their map score, 9 wins, 3 losses. The side of Wildheart Esports have a record of 2-1 and a map score of 7-4. So some little stats for you all to kind of mull over as we are going to be getting ready for another break. And this break, of course, since it is a little bit in between games, we get the lobbies going, we get some map bans happening. So, of course, instead of just having a screen with a countdown timer, we brought in our lovely, our amazing, our beautiful friend Kyle Ferguson to sit down with Caesar Salad and interview him about the upcoming matchup. Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom.